the worst part is I would have expected if it wasn't something serious, right, that they would have just said the reason, right? Like, I don't know, he needs some time off or whatever it is. Like all these things, like a lot of this you can just easily explain away, right? So that's why I had such a weird feeling about it, that where like with the less information you get, the more skeptical. And so it's a bit, it's just an awkward thing.
They say victory belongs to 5 on stage, but it's never just 5. It's every heartbeat in the crowd, every cheer that shakes the stage, every flick, every clutch, written together. On stage or in the crowd, we are one. Skin Club, together as one.
Ever wanted to try Refrag? Well, now you can. For the viewers of HLTV Confirmed, you can claim a 1-week free trial for the world's best CS2 training platform, letting you try out all of our features, like the Refrag Coach, which will analyze your games and give you a personalized training plan. You can also try out Challenger, an all-new game mode, which will test your retake abilities in realistic in-game scenarios. Try Refrag today for free using the link in the description.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Counter-Strike fans across the globe, I wanted to do ladies and the gentlest of men's. That's how I wanted to open, but I didn't open like that, so we'll try again. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Counter-Strike fans across the globe, think about that thing I just said and put it in there in your brain. Welcome back to another episode of HLTV Confirmed, and today we're going to be talking about all the hot button topics, but before we get there, we need to thank our sponsors, Stake, and we are going to be streaming exclusively on Kick while it's live, but you can still get all the action on all the different platforms, including YouTube. We're going to get to that in a second. Prof has a little presentation regarding the top comment from YouTube's last episode. As well as Skin Club, and of course Refrag. We'll be chatting a little bit more about them later within the show. I've got Striker, I've got Prof, I've got Lucas on the 1s and 2s, and a lot's been happening in the last 24 hours, gentlemen. There's a whole lot of things just popping off left, right, and center. And obviously, as the #1 skin-focused Counter-Strike podcast, we're going to be diving into all the details with all the nuances and everything along those lines. But Prof, we do need to get to this YouTube comment situation
yes,
first.
We need to address this. Facts. We got 100 more comments on the last episode than on the Rain episode.
Oh,
because people
love jerseys.
People hate the Vitality jersey, but if it's free, then
okay.
they love
take it.
Then they love it. There's a bunch of nice comments. I can't read anything on the preview, so I'll have to jump on the presentation myself. But a few nice ones. I really like the one where a guy wrote like 3 paragraphs, kind of referring to what we spoke about last time about ZywOo and his position in the team, kind of expanding on why potentially he, in his opinion, is the most impactful player in some ways for any team, and why his teams have been winning. I will be opening it shortly over here, and I can read out a few things.
Doing the hard part while he's filling, while also looking for something, but doesn't quite remember where he put the thing.
The comment is from Erwanka. He essentially said, "This is something impossible to highlight on paper, but ZywOo is to me the perfect CS player, and that's why it's easier for whichever teams he performs in." That's the short of it, because it's obviously a huge comment. Not going to read everything, but it was nice to see someone actually like listen to what we're saying and adding something to the discussion. Like if someone said this live on the podcast, it would be like a normal comment. You know, any of us could have said this, and I wanted to highlight that.
Okay.
Other than that, Falcons hate got a lot of upvotes. Obviously,
who would have thought?
Yeah. Then True Final was Vitality versus FaZe cinema game. It was good. It was a good game. That was a good game. Best game, probably
one of the better games of EPL.
Yeah. We saw how long that FaZe hype lasted. Spoiler, not long.
All of about 5 days.
And then we can move on to the second slide. We have a few more. The fun fact: ropz claimed 25% of all EPL titles ever held.
Did you fact check that?
I didn't, but I think it is true.
It is the internet. People only say things that are true on the internet.
He has 5, and it's like season 22, right? That's almost 25%.
Almost, yeah.
Maths.
That's how percentages work.
By Antonio Conte. Antonio Conte, the famous football coach, also watches our show. Cool. Apex needed to grow his hair back. ropz needed to crash a Porsche. Classic comment. Sad to see Rain leave. This is a classic comment as well. But ultimately, the winner is Michael Phone 520 with a comment saying, Nico needs to teach Kyousuke how to handle himself better on the stage. Falcons will be back.
Top comment.
It's not the hater.
Almost 600 likes on this one.
Wow.
It was a big talking point last week. The whole like medal situation. What do you guys make of this?
Striker?
I think he's a little too inexperienced and a little too young to do that.
But doesn't it even matter?
It does. Like, to be honest, I personally don't really give a fuck, but I understand where people are coming from who are kind of flaming him for it, because
why are they flaming him? Can I get the context? Because I saw this conversation, but I didn't bother looking into it, because to me it was like, who cares?
Right. Well, I think it is, like, to some degree, it comes off as disrespectful considering the guy, like, that's his best result of his career, you know, for the time being. It obviously speaks to the fact that he's not happy about that, which is, you know, that's also a good thing in some ways. But I just think it's kind of early in your career, you know, to be disrespectful to a second place or whatever it is result, you know.
So what's the sign of disrespect not putting the medal on?
Yeah,
I think it's just some. Yeah, right.
Okay, so I might be, I don't know, I'm out of touch with the common man. So wait till we get to the skins conversation in a second. But like when I think about this as a qualm, I sit there and I go, okay, so one or two things happens. He puts the medal on like everybody else, and he stands there and okay, done. Or he takes it off and people are talking about it. And he's not the first person to do that. Yeah. I'm sure he won't be the last person to do that. So to me, it shows, okay, he's disappointed with the result. I don't read any disrespect for that. It's like, you know, he's probably, there's even an angle that people don't explore. People just assume the angle is like, oh, you think you're too good for second place. It's like he could be frustrated, like thinking to himself, right, that, you know, I didn't even play good. I don't even deserve second place.
That's the part that could be, that makes it interesting, right? Was it because of what you're saying, that he was unhappy with his performance and he felt like he didn't deserve it, or was it because he was unhappy that it was second place? You know, because I think there's two different. No, that's not, that like doesn't enter the, well, of course it enters the conversation, but like from his perspective, what was the reason, right? And I think if what you're saying is the reason, I think that's fair. I think that's 100% like understandable, right? Like I feel like I played like shit. I don't really deserve to even be second place. Or is it I will not accept anything other than first place, even though I have never gotten the first place trophy anywhere, you know, which is like, there's two different things. But like,
I think honestly, either way, people have to make assumptions, because he didn't say anything. All he did was take it off and then people perceive it. But even with perceiving it, I don't even know if it matters. It's like, okay, so we know this kid's got some attitude. We already knew he's got some attitude. Like,
I think ultimately, I think there's a process, right? And just in terms of how it comes off for the tournament, and just generally it being, like, obviously it comes at a weird point for the team who just lost, right, to be awarded second place. But generally it is in some ways it is a celebration, right? And so, like, to not adhere to the process and all that stuff, that just comes off as disrespectful to the tournament, you know, making it look worse on stream, whatever it is, that sort of stuff, you know. I personally don't really give a fuck, but I understand why people perceive it as that.
I think I just want to add one more thing. I think we, I don't know about you, Chad, but like at least me, grown up in like a era of like sports and like Olympics, World Cups and all of these things where like getting even a bronze medal is like a big thing, and the whole like medal ceremony is a big thing. Did Kyousuke ever watch any sports? Does he understand what this is supposed to mean? Like in the esports, medals are not really a thing. Like they give him sometimes. Recently, like the last few years, ESL has been doing it, but it's not really.
But I think they started doing it just quickly, and this isn't guaranteed.
Drama, bro.
No, I'm pretty sure they started doing it because there was players who were who wanted something to remember the moment by, right? Because there would normally be a trophy, and in the first place, people wouldn't get anything other than just be the trophy, which the org would take in most circumstances. So then they started doing medals for the first place guys. So then I think they also were like, well, it's still a memory for the guys who came second, right?
Yeah.
Which is not a great memory.
Can be a bad memory, yeah. I mean, for some it's good memory. It's a good memory.
Yeah. So they don't even have to offer that because in the past they didn't. It was just trophies. So this is why I don't really think it's such a big deal. It's like, okay, he accepted the token or he didn't. It's like he didn't play good enough to win the thing that he wanted. So that's that. And a competitor only really cares if they can fucking win the best thing. Nobody wants to be the runner-up. Nobody wants to be the person coming second. Nobody wants to be the person coming third. So he's a kid as well.
Yeah.
People got to keep reminding themselves.
Third place medals though. Need third place medals.
Agreed.
Yeah.
This kid's 17. We just got to remember he's and just try and reflect on how you were as a 17-year-old going through puberty. Not really knowing how to handle yourself. Now you're traveling around the world getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars
by 17. Man.
You never know, mate. It's
you're
long
not
onset.
Puberty by 17.
He's still going through it. The emotions are still at an all-time high. Women are starting to appear in his peripheries. He's traveling the world. He's on the plane all the time. Okay. Right, he's only 17. 17.
Yeah.
All right. Give him
my age.
Like,
my age exactly.
How's that feel, mate?
Fucked.
Okay. I wanted to get into something you just mentioned. Third place deciders there, Prof. Yeah. Here's something that I read in a comment. I don't know where I read it. It may have even been
on Reddit
in the comment section of Talk and Counter on YouTube or something. But someone said, don't call it a third place decider, call it a podium game.
But there is no podium, so
yeah, we don't do podiums.
Not a podium,
well,
not a medal.
But yeah, I guess there is no medal.
Maybe they need to make a podium because I don't know if you saw at CAC, Liquid won the third place game, and then after the game, Nerds was like celebrating with like no trophy. He was like lifting that imaginary trophy. He was like, if that's the last game of the tournament and you win it, they should get something. It looks weird. And it's like, yeah. Okay.
Nothing.
Give me a
maybe a beer or something would be good at the end of it. Not for the 17-year-olds though. Just a quick one. Someone in chat says that's not true, SPUNJ. Everybody who respects competition also respects second and third place. Okay, that's also not true, right? Like let's not make blanket comments like that. And then sure, everybody would love to be first place, but winning 10 silver medals in the Olympics is still a fucking achievement, and would be the Olympics happens every 4 years. A Counter-Strike tournament is every second week.
Yeah.
What are we comparing here?
Yeah, I mean, if you get the same silver medal 2 months later, and between that you've gotten 2 third place medals from CSC or whatever, maybe you're not so big on the medals, anymore. You're like, what the fuck? Why do I keep getting medals?
Anyway,
but what about a podium that like hydraulically lifts itself, like the the blast entrances?
Place, yeah.
So at the end, they're all coming from below, and it's like this guy comes to third, and
just what we need: more ceremony, Prof.
More hydraulics,
ceremonies,
more hydraulics.
But they need to get rid of trophy lifts in studio environments. I reckon. Like it needs to be something different. Like it needs to be like a group setting where everyone's like gets interviewed and you give them the trophy, and then they can celebrate there. Like the idea of walking up and lifting a trophy into a camera, it's like, what are we doing? I guess we are doing entertainment.
Honestly,
it's a good photo.
Like, I've been there just now for the TWC one, and I actually felt okay because it had like a tiny crowd that was like only basically like VIPs plus like people from the like players' girlfriends, family, blah blah blah. Yeah. And it was like actually a pretty decent moment. So I don't hate it as much if there's like something to it rather than just like staff going they won. So it wasn't too bad for me, but I don't know. Honestly, don't really care.
That is what it is. All right, let's get into that was the top comment on YouTube. Are we doing that again this week?
Yes, same thing.
Vitality jersey again?
Vitality jersey, yes.
Same color?
Same color, white color.
It was the yellow one, right? White one.
White one, yeah.
White one, the most recent one. Okay. All right. So there you
go. Keep track, to be honest. I mean, they have jerseys up on jerseys
every
all the
event.
time.
I heard new ones coming.
What the?
Start of next year. Maybe on major, I don't know. But next year.
Yeah, they have to do a major jersey. You got to do a major. How can you not do a major jersey?
Defending champions jersey, I don't know.
Yeah. The golden jacket, right? From cycling, whatever the fuck it is. Anyway, let's keep it rolling along, shall we, gentlemen? Okay, so hot button topic. There's two ones. There's two big ones. Obviously, there's the Senzu benching. We'll get to that in a moment. But let's get, as I mentioned, we have the #1 Counter-Strike podcast for talking about skins. We all know so much about skins, valuation of skins, how the market works, what different floats mean, everything like that. We're really just completely up to speed around here, as you all know, if you're tuning in, week week out.
If we had to rank ourselves on skin on inventory value, I guess, Chad, you were first.
Probably, unless you guys have something that's worth.
I have practically nothing. Like, I have nothing.
Like,
I have
The thing is, I had SPUNJ.
Okay.
Nothing nice. Like, I opened a Butterfly Lore, which is Star Trek, which is probably about, I don't know, it's fuck all. It was about 1.5 grand. It's probably less now with the way the market's going to change.
He says fuck all. That's like bigger than Prof's.
No,
my inventory can be max
10 grand
euros. Max.
Mine would be a couple of grand.
Okay. Mine's also actually a couple of grand because I just bought stuff, or like I opened like a knife and I just rebought a lot of different stuff for it when it was like 2015 or 16 or some shit. And that's now become a 2.5 grand type inventory, and I'm like, okay, I'll take it. I guess.
Okay.
I do have Martin's Dragon Lore because he has two of them.
Well, we don't have to worry about those going down in price.
He has two Dragon Lores.
I think to just bring everybody up to speed, the reason if you're not a skins Andy, which is fair, I'll get into that too in a moment's time. Overnight, Valve dropped an update. The parts of the update that maybe you'll care about if you like the gameplay, they added retakes back, the game mode, so you can go in there and play retakes. Lacking some functionality that the community servers would have, or what people might be used to in the community servers. But usually the game modes through Valve's own thing are more simplified, right? We know how that works. Fixed Molotov and smoke interaction logic in case when multiple smokes are active in a map. There was something like this I saw on Reddit a couple of months ago to do with when multiple smokes are down, maybe it doesn't extinguish a Molotov. And there was this example from EPL where ZywOo threw a smoke and there was already like 2 smokes kind of around this molly, but I tested it a lot. I was doing a lot of testing on that. Me and Harry were staying up late at night working it out, and it didn't seem to matter about multiple smokes, but was also hard to replicate. It was all to do with the trajectory at which the smoke was thrown. Anyway, I'm waffling. Couple of updates to maps. The main one being Inferno, adjustment to top of quad and under balcony to improve visibility, and various optimizations. Okay. The others are to do with the community-based maps. This is where people probably, this is where the bulk of the conversation is for today's topic, is they have extended functionality of the trade-up contract to allow exchanging 5 items of covert quality as follows. So you can turn 5 covert items, either stat track or regular, like once they have to be split, into a knife or gloves, depending on which cases your skins that you're trading up come from. If people are unfamiliar with the way the trade-up contract works, in Counter-Strike, you were able to get 10 skins of the same quality, and you were able to convert them into a skin of the higher quality. But you don't know what it was going to be. But the influence on what it would become was based on what skins you had within that trade-up contract. Again, not an expert, bit of an idiot in this, but that's it. And there's been panic selling because now essentially the long and the short is it is easier to get knives. That's the biggest takeaway. It is easier to get knives now. More people will
When you say it like that, obviously the reactions make sense. Everything I'm reading is that Valve, not everything, but the first reactions were like, Valve hates the game, destroying everything. And it's just a trade up.
I think it does affect people who have made the decision to invest in skins like it's stocks.
Yeah.
Or crypto.
I mean, that's not an opinion. That is a fact for sure.
Yes. So that right there is where you get the knee-jerk reactions from people. I think that this is a nuanced topic because
it's not. Is it? I mean, it's like, first of all, like the actual value of the knives, like in Valve's eyes, there is no real world value, you know, because they don't want people to trade it for real money, you know. So for you to put, you know, so much faith into the fact that the status quo will remain and then your value will not just be taken away effectively. I mean, it is a huge risk you're entering into. You should have known that going into it, you know. So like you only have yourself to blame, really.
Now, this is where I said, you know, I'm going to be out of touch with the common man, because my initial response is exactly that, to be fair, Striker. But the problem is people have. So I'm with you. Like the black and white of all of it is like, why would you think that a thing that you have to use third-party websites to be able to extract any real-world value from, and you know that's something that Valve don't want, is a reasonable place to put thousands upon thousands of dollars? That's my initial reaction. Then my reaction next is to kind of follow up and look into it. And there's a lot of people who have done that. So it's like, yeah, if you ask me for advice, I would have said that's a bad idea, but you've done that. So a lot of people who have a lot of money in it are feeling the pain of that hit the next day. So like logically in my brain and your Striker and probably Prof's too, that's not a choice that we would have made, but people have made that choice and it's just hit them from nowhere. So I feel like it's not even a reminder. It's just like a sobering wake up call that this is not a great idea to be as an investment in this way. And I woke up at, I don't know, fucking 9 a.m. this morning because I have the luxury of being a Peter Pan man. And
aren't we all?
Yeah, and saw that it had happened, and you see the fallout from the initial tweets to the ones that are start coming through a little bit more recently, where people are like, "Yeah, I have an inventory of a high value." It started to these things being investments. Knives are a fun part of the game. Like Launders was making some tweets. I think Dimmer Warhacks was making some tweets. Let me read them so that I can actually get it out. Let me find it. So Dimmer Warhacks tweeted, "I have to be honest. I believe it's a very good thing that so many people will now be able to afford knives and gloves because the price we're getting out of hand." And then Launders retweeted that and said, "My inventory is hella expensive and I feel this way too. More people should be able to afford a knife. Skins are awesome and make the game more fun to play." So there's also the angle that like right now, guys, because I was doing some market research earlier today. And right now, people are buying up a shitload of red skins off of the market and then they're just trading those up to see what they can get. Or people are buying pink skins to trade into red skins, then trade into a knife, right? So right now, the level of injection of cash that's probably going into the marketplace is insane. But also the value of knives in general and gloves, because the rarity goes down, the value of that will also go down. It's just interesting to see, is that a trend that continues or does it bounce back and it only has like a smaller impact on the overall cap and this is just like a panic moment? Because the idea,
it's got to be partly that, right? Because it's obviously people will just see the update and be like, oh fuck, my knife's about to lose half of its value, I'd rather sell it right now. And that's probably the way that 50% of the people who own some of those knives are thinking right now. The ones that actually care about the value of their knives, right? They're going to be like, fuck, I'd rather... I mean, it works the same way with stocks and all that stuff. Like, there's an announcement about a company and then just like everybody's like, fuck, I have to get out. And that's the same thing here, right? And so it will only stabilize over time when the community sentiment stabilizes and they realize what this actually means, that maybe it's not such a bad thing. I think Lucas has brought it up earlier that somebody basically tweeted that even if everybody traded up all the Redskins, it would just basically increase the value of those almost to the same degree as it would have decreased the value of the knives, right? So overall, the market maybe over time will stabilize to somewhere close to the level.
Yeah. Feels like a very Robin Hood update, We're just like giving to the little guy. You have maybe a few skins in your inventory now. They're actually worth something. They were worth nothing before. Let's fucking go.
Well, the value of like certain things was already like really high. Like the skin market was always like, I'll be honest, it's not like it's something that I keep tabs on or whatever, but it's something that when you see the figures and, occasionally, I have this skin, let's see what it's worth. And it's like, wow, I could get that for this much real money value. It's something that is... Don't say that out loud on a public platform, maybe you're going to get a ban from Valve who apparently listen to this podcast every now and again.
But
they have to know that this stuff's going on, right?
Of course. But usually they don't know who exactly, So if you're stupid enough to tell them, I've done this, they're going to be like, bam, bad hammer.
Yeah, potentially, right? But I think it's one of these things that is this to combat, right? Because there was like a pump and dump essentially recently with like the EG skins, right? That happened.
Stickers, yeah.
Sorry, stickers, not skins. And like people were saying, this is ridiculous. These things were worth absolutely nothing like a month or 2 months ago or whatever, right? And then from that point forward, they started to accrue some level of value in there. And then people sold and some people made money and some people lost money on it. And you sit there and go like, what? These are fucking pixels in a video game. Like, but then I sit there and I go,
so is
honestly,
Bitcoin.
To me,
so is Bitcoin,
true. It's true. It is.
It's worth $100,000 or whatever.
To me, it feels like a reaction to that more than anything else. Like from Valve's point of view,
doesn't it kind of give them back the power?
A bit, yeah.
That's what I feel. I'm extremely uneducated.
Just kind of like normalizes how you can get from point A to point whatever. But it's still at some point there's still extremely rare float variations that will just be expensive. Like that's still gonna be a thing. I like this comment in chat. Lucas794. It says, he was explaining what happened. He says the thing is that knives lost their status overall. In HLTV terms, it's like mixing 5 blasts equaling a major win. So I think this is a pretty good one. So essentially, like you know, a major is a major, and you can only win a major by winning a major. But imagine if like G2, who won 5 blasts, could just take these 5 blasts and trade them up to now have 1 major win. I think it's a very good analogy.
It obviously reduces the rarity, right? Like, so with that, like I understand it from that perspective there. So I know you sit there and you go like, you know, so's Bitcoin and stuff, Striker, which is true, and it's obviously the super boomer part of me. But and I hate to have to say this every time, but this is true. Like playing Counter-Strike back in the day for me had nothing to do with skins. It was before skins even became a thing. Like I was well and truly invested and obsessed about this before skins became a thing. Yeah. And then I see such a reaction on social media and how big this is. I sit and I wonder, okay, so I ask myself certain questions. Does this have any level of impact to Counter-Strike that I enjoy? Right?
I mean, it could, right?
Maybe to my playing experience, I could have another knife. Today I have 5 new knives. None of them are any good. And Valve capped it. They won't let me put any more money in my Steam account. They said, it looks like you've been trying to, you know, add money, maybe take a break or something like that. So I can't add any more money right now. So Valve are capping me from fucking getting in there and spinning the roulette thing. But yeah, like what impact could this possibly have on upper echelon Counter-Strike?
Sponsorships potentially, right? I mean, we see a lot of these skin websites, skin trading stuff, and all that stuff that are like heavily involved. So that could, you know, impact them pretty heavily, their businesses. So they will pull some sponsorships from teams, from TOs, who will then not be able to you know, make so much money on their tournaments or whatever it is, and like down the line they will trickle down to some sort of an impact, right? Probably not something that we will see like in a moment, like it's not going to happen overnight or anything like that, but like over time that could have some impact if, you know, the impact to the market is actually the one that's like somewhat significant, right? But otherwise, I mean, I don't really think so. It's not going to be like over time. It will probably go up and like keep going up as it has so far, and everything's going to go as it's gone so far.
Yeah, I just think Valve wanted to kind of be back in control a bit more, or, you know, at least have more than one finger in the pie. I mean, they've already been kind of even on the professional side, right? Like they've been putting their foot down over TOs, you know, being sponsored by some of these websites, right? We saw the Philadelphia case where they were told not to, I don't remember which company that was. Not
Daddy Skins.
Daddy Skins, there you go. Not to keep up that sponsorship, right? Otherwise, they're going to be unranked and all these things. And I think it's happened in the past with other TOs as well. So it's like it's something that obviously Valve wants to have their finger on. Probably also, you know, being pushed by legislature, you know, in different countries and all that stuff, where a lot of this stuff is also, you know, illegal effectively to do or to provide as a service and all these things, you know. So I think it is just a further step in that direction where they just want to make sure that the gambling side of it is a bit dampened, or I don't know what you want to call it.
It feels like it's another one of these moves into a long-term play to move away from the crates, like the cases, right? Yeah. I don't know if like reducing the rarity of something, because essentially you're still doing the same thing, right? I'm getting 5 things, right? I had to get 5 things that I either had gotten over the course of getting drops and trading up, either through like just the game itself or going on the Steam market, which is what I did today. And I bought like reds to then upgrade them into see what golds I'd get. And I was working out, if I get this from this case and this from this case, I could get this type of knife, or I get these type of gloves. And so I'm doing that now, but I still don't know what I'm going to get. And the value is only put on it by how nice we as the community think it is, right? How much value we determine a certain skin is worth. Oh, that one's really cool and everybody agrees. Now that one's worth, I don't know, $2,000 or whatever as the value. That's all still kind of set by us, the supply and the demand of all of it. So I don't know how we're moving. Are we moving away, or is it just differently framed?
I mean, it could just be the first step, or like the second step, I guess, after they did the trade ups in the first place, right? I mean, over time, it could lead to just like complete the removal of the cases, and then whatever else that leads down to, right? I'm nowhere near an expert on this, so I don't want to talk out of my ass too much.
I mean, you can see what they implemented in like the Netherlands and stuff with the X-ray skin back when they had cases. The problem with like loot boxes in a lot of, places where it becomes illegal is you don't, you pay money and you don't know what you get. If they make all the old cases now the new terminal kind of way, right? Then
how can they do that with the old cases though?
I mean, they could release that, like, there's terminals for all the old cases. Then they replace the way that you have a loot box where you pay money and then you get a random skin. To now you know what you're gonna be,
and you decide
paying.
If you want to pay for it or not. Yeah,
but you still have the way to trade up items into knives.
Sure.
So they removed the whole lottery, loot box.
Don't you still have to spend the money to open the terminal, or is the terminal free?
Terminal's
free with a drop, or
free.
You can buy one from the market.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's another twist and turn in the crazy economy that is Counter-Strike skins. Who would have fucking thought that this would be what we're talking about? Like, isn't it crazy?
It is. It's vibes.
It was funny. I was just checking my value of the inventory, and it's like how it's changed and stuff. And I literally have no knives, and the only 3 reds I have are actually expensive. Like, they just whatever. I don't even remember what they're called anymore. I have like a hyper beast and both op and an M4 and one more. So those are too high in value for people to trade up anyway. So like my inventory is literally the same that it's been so far. Like, it's not changed whatsoever.
That's the thing though. Eventually, like today's, when you're getting so many people buying a shitload of reds and pinks and stuff, that will probably balance out at some point too as well. Anyway, we've already been talking about this for far too long. So let's keep moving.
That's unbelievable in itself.
Let's keep going. Okay, let's jump into Skinionaire. So those of you playing at home, if you're not familiar with Skinionaire, this is a quiz that we're going to do. It's 5 questions, multiple choice. Each question that we get correct along the way will earn a different valuation of skin as a giveaway. You need to type Skin Club in chat right now. I'm going to say without the dot.
What a segue.
Hey, look at that. So Skin Club in chat without the dot, because I'm pretty sure that caused the URL issue last time around. And that will be your raffle ticket to enter the draw, right? Depending on how many we get right, we'll then randomly roll for the people who type Skin Club in chat. And one lucky winner will be selected from the group, and Lucas will reach out to you and organize the value of the skin. Okay, what's the topic for this week, Prof? Did you get Dimitri on this one?
Electronic.
Electronic, okay.
Yeah.
So do you know the answers?
I do.
Okay, so it's me and Striker again.
Good questions, I think.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into it, shall we? This is Who Wants to Be a Skinionaire, brought to you by Skin Club. Question number 1. What team was Electronic playing for?
Easy.
Yeah, it was Flipside.
Yeah.
You gotta read the question for the audio
NAVI.
only listeners before giving the answer.
What team was Electronic playing in before joining NAVI? The answer is Flipside. All right, lock it in. It's correct. Who would forget it? No one would. We were all there. All right, question number 2. How many times did Electronic make HLTV's top 20? All right, Striker. Well, you are good at rigging the top 20. So how many times did he make it?
So he joined NAVI in 17.
It was either end of 17 or end of 18?
No. That's too late.
Because the first one he played was DreamHack.
2018, they were already winning tournaments with when they were competing with, well, not competing, but like when Astralis was in the peak, that was already a bit way past. So I want to say 17, 18, 19. That's 3, 4, 20. I guess it's got to be still. I don't know if since then he's made it or not.
I mean,
I would say rather
21. They won everything.
Oh yeah, 21.
4,
must have been. I would say 5. I think it must have been 5 in a row, unless he missed in 2020. I would say it's got to be 5. It's got to be 5. I think 4 is too little.
But
online
he wouldn't have got it in
Electronic.
17.
You don't think? I don't know.
He would have just joined. He joined at the end of 17.
Go with what you want.
I'm going with 4.
Okay, go for it.
Because he joined at the end of 2017. I'm pretty sure I was
End of
working
2017 or early 2017. That's what I can't remember. Okay.
I think what you said, DreamHack Winter is always end of the year.
Because
okay.
I'm pretty sure, because I was working this event with, like, maybe it was Pimp and Trace, and we dressed up as Santa Claus or something.
I remember the tournament. I was there. Didn't he get the MVP for that even? Or was that like a year later?
I don't know. I'm having a look right now. I'm scrolling through it. DreamHack Open winner 2017, first NAVI. Yeah, that was his
And he got the MVP, right?
It's loading right now. Right now it says verifying I'm a human. Verification success. Nice. I'm a human. Hold up a second.
No, it was
Overview.
simple. Okay, so it might have been the next year or something.
It was simple, yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was
that's
his
what I
first
remembered
event with
wrong
them.
then. Yeah, okay, it could be.
Anyway, 2 from 2. We got it right regardless. Question number 3. What was Electronic's best result with VP? Top 2, top 4, top 8. Oh my god.
I
Well,
have no clue.
Definitely made a top 8, right?
Yeah,
They made
Katowice playoffs and stuff.
That's true. So that's top 6.
so that must be it. I mean, then surely it's got to be top 4 now. Let's see.
When did he join VP?
made,
He was there for a year, right?
yeah, ish.
I feel like it has to be better than because VP's that team that occasionally has that performance, and
Didn't
you're like,
they have-
oh, it's working, but it's
yeah,
not really working.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was one like post break. I think that they had one good result, or just before. I think it was top. There's no final.
No way,
though,
top 2.
There's no
bro.
final. There's no
Top- has
final. I
to-
think it's top 4.
Top 4.
I think it's top 4.
Locking in top 4. Correct answer is top
Okay.
4. Okay, because you have to take a punt with that. You know, you feel like top 8. Yeah, if they didn't make a top 8, would be in trouble.
Yeah,
if they,
yeah.
If
No, we
they
know that they made some playoffs because it's exactly what you're saying. Like sometimes we're like, oh, they're back, and then they fucking bomb out the next tournament. You know, so that's what happened. Where was it? Was it like
People are saying EWC.
no?
What about Blast? Blast Lisbon? Was that the top 6 as well?
No.
That EWC was the G2 versus like with MongolZ. Who were they playing? It was G2, Nika,
No, it was the
Monastir.
WC, but last year.
Yeah, but who were they playing in the final, right? Because then we can try and work out where everyone else is at the time. It was G2 versus was it Oh, it was NAVI because NAVI were reigning EWC champs.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is
yeah.
actually EWC 24 and also Blast Premier Spring Final 24. So 2
There you go.
consecutive
Back-to-back.
events.
Oh, not back to back. Within the span of like a month or something, right?
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Question number 4. This is Who Wants to Be a Skinionaire, brought to you by Skin Club. According to the esportsearnings.com, who of the Russian CS players is higher than Electronic in terms of prize money? Flamey, Perfecto, Shiro, no one.
I would edge
Hero,
towards. I would edge towards no one, but
Well, he's a Dota player, so you're off the mark there.
huh?
That's such a good joke.
Yeah, that's a
everybody.
good one,
Come
that's a good one,
on,
that's a
Come
good one.
on.
I didn't get it. I
He's got a
didn't-
Dota
Gotta be Shiro.
player.
Think about it with Shiro. He won shit with Cloud9 online. They also won the major. They also won Katowice.
I mean, Electronic won the biggest major. Remember, that was the 2 million one.
True.
And Intel Grand Slam.
And
Yeah, I think it's got to be.
But what
no one. I
about
think Shiro
Defecto?
doesn't have. He played less. He played all of it with Electronic, and he played less than Electronic. So I feel like it's got to be no one.
All right, logging in.
There's no way to
one.
play me. There was like too early in the to have too much prize money.
Correct answer is
There we go. I think
questions
I
here
think
today.
it's
Just
gotta be a
imagine
pretty
how
big gap
fat-
even, to be honest.
That Virtus Pro salary was on top of that as well.
hopefully juice. All right, question number 5. Can people request red skins for the $50 value, Lucas? Oh, okay. Unlucky
Dimitri
guy.
is having a nightmare with the skin situation. He's like, what do we do now? Like, what is happening? All the prices are like crazy.
There's actually, you know what? That's so Perfecto's second, Boomich is third. The Shiro's not even top 5. And it's like a 500,000 gap between him
is
and
this?
Perfecto, by the way.
Shiro not top 5. What is this? Yanko's all-per tier list.
All right, final question. Question number 5. According to VP CEO, what was Electronic fined, sanctioned for? Fight with WATO, being mean to Icy, not talking to HLTV. Was it not talking to HLTV?
No, it wasn't, but it's a good throwback from.
Well, they didn't talk to
Dimitri, I'll
anybody,
say
not
that.
just you guys exclusively.
No, there was one situation where I kind of called him out publicly, but I don't think he got sanctioned for it.
Well, what would the CEO call him out for? Being mean to Icy feels so weak. Doesn't it?
This
But it
is
could be
like
true.
this is some like American org behavior, not Virtus Pro. You know,
I don't know what the answer
bullying
is.
and
I mean, there was
negative atmosphere.
That was
Fine.
the world that it's the thing right happened, but I don't know if that's what the VPCU actually said. I mean, it's got to be that though. I don't know.
You reckon fight with World Edit?
I guess.
Okay. Locking in A, fight with World Edit. Correct answer is...
There you go.
Bloody hell. I kind of hoped it was real just soft and it was like it was preschool
mean to
and being
Icy.
mean to Icy. We've sanctioned Electronic because he was being mean to Icy. You know, think about how funny
Right.
that would be. But no, we have another player
imagine
who likes
getting
getting
electronic on your team and just not like having that be in your contract. You know?
Yeah.
It's like you can't be mean to anybody. And you're like,
Bloody hell.
Also, if anything, he would be sanctioned for talking to HLTV and not
Yeah,
talking
that's
to
actually-
HLTV. That is more likely to happen.
He was following the
we've
company
heard.
line by not talking to HLTV. That's fair. All right. Well, that's 5 from 5. And let's draw a lucky winner. It is Elliot Lol 00 Icy.
I see.
Congratulations to you, Elliot Lol
Everything's fucking
001
rigged, isn't
CY.
This is literally icy. We're watching in chat right now. He's like, let's see what they say about my bully electronic on the show.
So that is Who Wants to Be a Skinionaire, brought to you by Skin Club. All right. Well, let's keep it moving, shall we? Obviously, that one was about Electronic because of the news recently of him reuniting with s1mple in the BC game jersey. For those of you also who maybe didn't catch everything there about Electronic and maybe you're just tuning into Counter-Strike, welcome. We'd love to have you here. Sorry that you have to deal with me. But Electronic, 27 years of age.
I hope we get like a bunch of like crypto bros that invested in skins coming
All
to like
tuning
figure
in,
out
yeah.
what's happening. Like these guys are experts. Let's see what's gonna happen. It's just like 3 dudes combined value of 8,000 euros.
Yeah, we're trying at least. Okay, so Electronic was the Robin to s1mple's Batman throughout s1mple being the absolute best player in the world in the NAVI jersey. He joined in late 2017. They went on to win the major, Intel Grand Slam, all that good stuff together. Then when it fell apart because of the whole war scenario, so there was the whole Boomich wife situation. Then there was more tensions within NAVI because of Russia, Ukraine, and the conflict that's going on. So what happens there is he ends up on a full Russian team of Cloud9, which we think is going to be sick.
It
Actually, not
happened a
full
year
Russian.
later, by the way. I mean, Electronic stayed on Navi for quite a long time after Boomich was left because there was the in-game leadership stint, you know, for a year with
true.
SDY. And
They
blah, blah,
denounced
blah.
the flag though, right? Or they may have
Yeah, yeah.
denounced it. They just didn't have the flag on things
Right.
like
They just,
Wikipedia and stuff.
Got
Him
like a
and
neutral
Perfecto.
flag on Wikipedia and stuff.
Yeah, and then they gave this whole Cloud9 project to go, which was a cataclysmic failure. The same for Virtus Pro, which kind of tanked the Electronic stock even more. And then now he's been reunited with s1mple at BC Game just the other day. They played in a tournament, played a couple of matches, and then they lost to Big to qualify for the LAN portion. So that's kind of getting everybody up to date. So now that you know who we're talking about, what we're talking about, and why we're talking about it, Strike, well, I'll start with you, Prof. Prof, do you care about this at all?
I mean, it's big because obviously it's a big player. It's a big player. It's a huge name value, huge achievements, and also because of the history of these two players together. At the same time, really didn't see it coming because of how the whole Navi situation dissolved and all of the baggage. Obviously, Boomich's wife was on a certain different level, like in terms of social media posts and activities related to war. That was insanely dumb.
Don't know, Navi is a Ukrainian-based organization.
Okay,
So-
I mean, from what I remember, she was like liking tweets with like Russian tanks while her husband was getting paid from a Ukrainian organization. It's like, it's not gonna fly. It's not gonna fly. This is not how it works. Obviously, things have only gotten worse since then. So I kind of surprising to even see Electronic and s1mple in a. If you asked me, like,
Really?
Ask me 3 months ago, would Electronic and s1mple play in a team in the next like 12 months? I would say no fucking way.
But these guys are very similar in terms of, well, they were brought up both under Blade's tutelage. They were the most successful they'd ever been with each other.
I feel like you could
sides.
even saying that for s1mple is not. I don't think it's even the same. Like Electronic, 100% came under Blade. s1mple played without Blade for a good part of his career. Like he played majors, semifinals, finals.
Sure, you got the whole Liquid stuff, but he
already
played
was a
in
player,
Flipside, right? And he couldn't play in some events, and Shara had to, like, where s1mple, if we're talking Hellraiser's days, right? Then it was Flipside days. Then from Flipside it went to Liquid, and then from Liquid right to Navi.
Yeah, but just one slight difference. Blade and Electronic literally pretty much whole of Electronic's career, all at least of the good parts were under Blade. Since he left Blade, it's been forgettable.
Whether it was in-game leader, Blade, his in-game leader, or he was playing as Blade was the coach.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing as since he left s1mple, right? So maybe that's the connection that we should
But in terms of the fiery atmosphere and attitude that these two bring, they are, I would say, cut from the same cloth, right? In terms of the way that you see on the cams of how they'll talk to teammates if they're unhappy with them, they're the same, right? They're brought up in that old CIS style. Like you would think of that when you would see Zeus or the Doziers or that type of stuff at the wall, the way that they would be playing back in the day. These guys are the last remnants of that. You know, maybe it still exists to some degree, but you don't see it like when we would see Aurora, where they all had colored hair. It didn't really feel like they would talk to each other in that same kind of a faction, right?
I don't know. Things have gone downhill for that team. And
well, they're no longer together anymore, are they? Right? So they're all over the place. But the two of them being back together in the server, the question becomes: is this a move that is showing that BC Game want to return to the top of Counter-Strike? Because obviously Electronic is a very big name, and him and s1mple back together, but Electronic is 27 now, and s1mple's not a spring chicken either. So is this a statement of intent? Like, how do you guys read this? Do you think Electronic will be able to keep up with the modern game because his in-game leadership and stuff weren't that strong? Like, what do you make of this overall? Because the two of them reuniting is great. Like, that's the headline.
Yeah.
But is there any more to the headline?
It's more about like what this project even is, and I honestly have no idea because they, as an org, or the management of this org, has never said anything publicly. They like did things, and that's kind of it. So the signing of s1mple in itself is kind of a statement, but it's not really a statement. We don't know how long this contract is. We don't know if they want to build around it. We don't know if this is just like a PR stunt that they'll run for a few months and then be like, okay, whatever. We got BC Game to be talked about everywhere, and that accomplished our goal, and we can just peace out. Or if they actually want to be a competitive team, ultimately they're not an org. It's a gambling company.
With
so
a
I don't know.
Team.
So I don't know how serious anyone can take them. I can take them as serious as literally their latest action, and their latest action is signing Electronic, who was stuck on VP's bench and would not get back on that team or any top 10 team anytime soon.
What do you make of it, Striker?
Two kind of jokey angles that might not actually be a joke. Who knows? So imagine there's been a lot has been made about s1mple's Dota profile and all that stuff, and like him skipping matches and God knows playing God knows how many Dota games versus CSGO games. Imagine this is BC Game's way of appeasing s1mple, being like, please play CSGO, or CS2 rather. Here's your old friend. Can you please play CS2 with him again? Can you please make us good again? Or the rumors of his short contract are true, and the same thing happens. They just get his friend so that they can get him happy again. Maybe extend his contract for a little longer, and then down the line maybe get some other players to actually make this team any decent. To motivate s1mple again to play at a high level. I don't know. I mean, honestly, that's how it reads to me, because what do we know as BC Game were looking for cores, right? I mean, they were after the 3 max core. I think they were trying to get the heroic core. I don't know who else they got in touch with, but I'm sure they cast the net wide, and they were trying for a bunch of these to join s1mple effectively so that they can make it up in the ranking easily, right? From what I've been told, none of those were really serious offers in terms of like the sort of money that they were willing to put up for these cores, right? So it never really went anywhere. And so as this is getting Electronic, who's obviously, has been in a free fall in terms of his stock forever. And that's not just as an in-game leader. I mean, he's never been the same basically since like the first time that he took over in-game leadership in NAVI. Individually, he's not been a player that we would even consider for the top 20 since then, effectively. And that's a huge downfall, right? I mean, and it's not even just about everybody's looking at the in-game leadership and blah, blah, blah. He's ruined so many teams by being the IGL. Eventually, it was, I mean, maybe that's how it started, but over time, it was his output that also just he's just not the same player that he's ever been. And so can he ever get back to that position now? We don't really know. There's nothing that would suggest that, to be honest. So is that really a statement of intent to get back to tier 1? Is that enough? Because I don't think it is. I mean, I think you need like probably 2 more players to change, to actually enter that conversation.
Well, I think it's important, right, with what you're saying, just to kind of look at where they're at right now and give everybody a bit of an understanding, right? So BCG, since Simple has only played online matches as far as I'm aware, right? Right now, if you look at the VRS, they're currently ranked 61 in the world. Now, if they were able to go to LAN and win a couple of LAN games at something like Draculan, it would actually have a decent impact to their overall VRS because
they haven't done it.
They have no LAN wins there. So if they actually want to get to a point where they can find themselves in a scenario to be in the bubble or even on the outskirts of the bubble, going to a smaller LAN event, one that is obviously covered, and getting a couple of wins could actually mean a lot for them going forward, right?
They are doing that in 2 weeks, right? They signed up for the Red Bull giveaway journey tournament. Okay. So that's should be the first time we see Simple online with BT Game.
Okay, so that's interesting, right? So I think
I just saw something on the side. It's funny. So the PGL talent got released. I sent them a joke picture saying maybe for the full vibes you can include this.
Oh, they used it.
And
yeah.
they actually
drinking a beer.
Picked that one. Fair enough, I guess.
Just pop down there. I see it.
All
okay.
Right.
Yeah. So where were we? 61 in the world. LAN wins would mean a lot. And then, right, one of the things that I was going to say, if I put myself in Simple shoes, nothing that would ever be humanly possible. But if I try and think like a Apex Predator competitor, like Simple is, playing online games probably isn't the most enthralling thing, right? I think the angle of this, like the cut and dry black and white one, like when we were talking about the skin market before, is like, well, does he want to return to being one of the best Counter-Strike players in the world and playing for the best trophies? Because then you just got to grind and do what it takes. That's the black and white angle, and most of the time, life's not that simple, is it? Right? Pardon the pun. So when I look at this, maybe getting Electronic in, they start going to some lands, they get some wins, they make a couple of upgrades, then we have a conversation. Right now, the headline is merely Simple and Electronic reunited, and anything more than that still needs to grow. Like, I'm not sitting here and going, oh, sick, like the boys are back together. I'm like, well, this is kind of fun. It's like, who's that band that people like, the British Brothers? They hate each other, and
Oasis.
Oasis is back together. You know, they need to go travel around fucking the world and do some gigs, singing Wonderwall or whatever, so that they can make some more money. This is what this is to me, and maybe some fun things will come out of it, like coming back from 11-1 down on Dust 2. That's pretty sick. That's fun. That's cool. It's against a team called fucking Quasar or Novak Q or whatever they are. So really, it's on the periphery. It's like watching trashy reality TV. You know?
Okay.
You know, you're not watching Severance, or you're not watching Game of Thrones, but you need something to watch. So you put on a bit of fucking Love Island.
Put it on the back.
You watch these people flop their funny bits about, right? Like, this is kind of what's going on here. So yeah, unfortunately for me, I can't get too excited. But if you're a Simple and Electronic fan, I hope you're having a great old time. Okay.
Next one.
Lucas. Hello.
Yeah.
Run the ad break, please, Lucas. We'll be right back.
They say victory belongs to 5 on stage, but it's never just 5. It's every heartbeat in the crowd, every cheer that shakes the stage, every flick, every clutch, written together. On stage or in the crowd, we are one. Skin Club, together as one.
Ever wanted to try Refrag? Well, now you can. For the viewers of HLTV Confirmed, you can claim a 1-week free trial for the world's best CS2 training platform, letting you try out all of our features, like the Refrag Coach, which will analyze your games and give you a personalized training plan. You can also try out Challenger, an all-new game mode, which will test your retake abilities in realistic in-game scenarios. Try Refrag today for free using the link in the description.
All right, we're back from the break. We're talking about Lucas's countdown.
That's an amazing countdown, Lucas.
Cool.
3, 2, 1, 2,
go.
3,
and 1, go.
But he just stopped counting down. He just stopped counting down.
We're back from the break, so it means we don't have to take another one. Now we can just kind of find the final stretch. Now, another big piece of news, the bigger piece of news that actually impacts professional Counter-Strike as opposed to skins, is Senzu being benched. So about 20 hours ago, to bring everybody up to speed, TheMongolz Twitter account announced this. Today, we made the difficult decision to move Senzu to the bench. Over the past years, Senzu and the boys have together written a new chapter in Mongolian esports, showcasing world-class talent, dedication, and determination. This decision was made after careful discussions between players and management. We deeply appreciate our fans' continued support and respect for the team as we move forward. Senzu remains an exceptional player, and we wish him nothing but success in the next chapter of his career. So that came out from the MongolZ Twitter account, and then that was swiftly followed by a couple of other tweets. So Senzu made a tweet. Where is it? Here it is. Now, he's used no punctuation. So excuse me for when I read this sounding like I'm all over the place. Also, right, English is not his native language, so I'm not using that to be at all derogatory to him. It's just when you read it, there's no punctuation. So I'm going to fuck some stuff up here. Senzu tweeted, I don't know what to say. It wasn't sudden decision. So if I'd taken that as it's like it was not a sudden decision, right? Yeah. So that would mean that this is something that has either been in the workings for some time. Now, how long is a piece of string? We don't know. So it's hard to define sudden, but let's assume that it's maybe been the last couple of months, right? Maybe since the major, right? That could be something, seems like a fair amount of time, but who knows? Speculation. It feels like I'm leaving my home. We made a lot of memories together. I wish all the best things for my beloved ones. My apologies to the ones who support us. Sorry for bad news. If you guys didn't give me this great opportunity, there wouldn't be today's me. I just want to say thanks for everything. So sorry for everything. Now, another thing to remember, again, 19 years young, English not his first language. But few facts with this. He was statistically the MongolZ best player. He joined, what was it, the end of 2023. So he's been there for about 2 years now. And obviously they're in the major grand final. They won EWC, right? They've been in a whole bunch of finals and been a whole conversation point, especially this year after the kind of breakthrough moment for them was making the top 8 at the Shanghai Major last year to round out 2024. Yeah. And then from then, they've been able to back that up. Just a quick other tweet, and then we'll just get into the conversation about this. Mazinho tweeted, it's been hell of a ride with my lifetime friend. He's with me since my day one. We were talking about our own stickers in game at the age of 12, 13. And I'm so happy that we've made it to a major final. Life goes on. Wish the best for my dear friend. Now, Prof, this was like a bombshell hit in the Counter-Strike world because even though the results weren't fantastic for the MongolZ, and that was only really with the TWC third place. And then before that, they didn't make the playoffs at EPL. But before that, the results, they were making finals. They're making playoffs. They just weren't practicing for some of these events. Did it come to a shock to you?
Let's be real. This is not a performance-based change. There is no way in hell this is performance-based, team or individual. Makes no sense. Definitely the best year they've had, best year for any Asian team, pushing the boundaries for what is possible for a team from their region.
Not even just region, I mean the country itself. I mean it's tiny and everything.
This lineup has been, as you said, almost 2 years together. That's also insanely long, and because of that, you could be, maybe they need a change. But why would you bench your best performer? Like the star player of this lineup has been consistently since he joined the team. He has been that guy, right? There is no way it is based on performance or results. This is true for me 100%. Even though I don't know, I know this is what I stand behind. Like when I saw this news, I mean, all of us in HLT were like, "Is this real? Did someone just hack them and post something? You know, is it a joke of some sort?" It's not. So that's where I kind of start and then move on to see what the reasons for something like this could be. And I guess this is kind of the speculation part.
So there's some things that are going to come out from like Mongolian media in terms of streaming and articles and everything like that we're not going to get in our peripheries, right? Unless it gets picked up and then put on a bit more of a mainstream website, or at least an English one. So there could be conversations that have been going on for some time that we haven't been privy to. Also, these kids sometimes like to stream. So maybe there's clues from occasionally when they would have been streaming, playing some Minecraft and stuff that Mongolian fans may have been able to pick up on hints over time. But as far as it goes, we don't have any real understanding or rationale as to why this has gone down. I think your assumptions are probably relatively safe there, Prof. Striker, people start going down a bunch of different rabbit holes. They talk about like his behavior and incidents that he had before he joined the MongolZ, right? When he was a younger lad. People are speculating about burnout. all of this speculation, it doesn't really help the situation, but I guess we're just looking for answers. So where do you fall in that part of the conversation?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of my, like, obviously I'm not saying that he did anything or anything like that, but because of how shocking it is, that was my first read on it, is like, could it be that he's getting banned or something happened, something serious enough happened, you know, where he can't be connected to the team anymore, things like that, you know, because that's how crazy it is. But it could also be what you were saying, you know, in terms of, let's say, burnout. You know, obviously these guys have suddenly become kind of stars in their own country. Obviously shitloads of people suddenly look up to them. They're on a constant run of events, you know, so like it could be that it was just starting to get to him personally, you know, or the team was just he was just not handling the pressure or the tight travel schedule, just the celebrity of it when he comes back home, things like that, you know, like that's obviously,
he was in rap songs in Mongolia.
Right. There's obviously a lot that comes with being such a front-facing figure for your own country. And like we saw how much even that team was expanding the fan base of Counter-Strike in the country in general. I mean, they kept breaking records after records in terms of Mongolian streams. Pretty much every like deep run they went into, you know, they kept breaking more and more. You know, suddenly like 100,000 Mongolians watched them. And like, if you think about it, for 3 million, whatever it is, 5 million people country, that's a crazy amount of people, you know, to suddenly be interested in Counter-Strike. So who knows if that's that sort of a thing, you know, if it's just too much happening, you know, for you to be able to handle it long term.
I could actually, do you want me to maybe read that one email that we got in the mailbag? Because it's like kind of puts the culture and the situation of like the Mongols.
Can try. I mean, obviously this is in no way corroborated or anything, but we did ask people to send in their thoughts about the mailbag, and we had some people who, you know, claim to know a little bit more. Whether they do or not, that's hard to tell, but we can at least I mean, opinion.
This is one that's not even like, oh, this is why it's happening. It is obviously, take it with a grain of salt, but a part of it just about how big they are is 100% true. Obviously been there, saw Mazinho on billboards all over the place, so it's not
completely unfounded.
It's not unfounded, yeah. So this is an email that says, I've been a fan of MongolZ for a year now. I'm from Mongolia, so I kind of know the atmosphere in the country. They're the biggest stars in Mongolia, but it might have been too much handling all the fame, flying everywhere in the world, and not being able to be home. Blitz said after the summer break that every time he comes to Mongolia, he never wants to go away again, and he might actually retire very early because of this. It is fair enough. Mongolia is a beautiful country with delicious food. I believe this might be true for all players, but I don't know for sure. Senzu is very caring, nice, and empathetic, and sensitive person who cares deeply about people close to him. This feels like written by someone close to him, but let's just move on from that. Like you've seen how he defended Techno 4K. That was like a whole thing when Techno was underperforming. He had a lot of flack. He did that every time people bashed MongolZ staff. He would tell fans to respect the staff. Mazinho said that he would respect his choice, so I assume it was Senzu's own choice to leave the team. Blah, blah, okay. The players are still young, and it might be hard to maintain a relationship with their girlfriends even. They are like K-pop idols, and girls would go crazy if they knew they had girlfriends. Trust me, the fan base is bigger than you can imagine. 99 out of 100 Mongolians would know them. So the logical thing would be to hide their relationship. This is kind of more like interesting to hear, like the level of fandom that is going on. They could be going through tournaments and going through relationship hardship at the same time. I know this is possible, but I know it might be difficult to process for people who don't get laid enough. This is also just a funny way to put it there.
I didn't read through all that.
The reason he's apologizing so much is because he always does that. He never seems to be fully content with his performance. Apologized to the fans after losing the game. He also once said, "I'm sorry," blah blah. Okay, let me just go to the end. There's I just want to show the international fans how it works. I would like to stay anonymous. Kind regards, a very heartbroken fan. That's it. That's a bit of Mongolia lore there.
Well, it is overall like shocking, right? Because like, again, it's definitely not a performance-based thing, or at least we're assuming it's not a performance-based thing. It's not hard to see how like all the travel can stack up. Like some people don't deal with it as well as others. And it's always a grass is always greener situation. I think for people who are working like a standard, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, or let's call it like a 4 to 2 if you're doing some construction job or something. The idea of like getting the privilege to travel around the world and play a video game is pretty enticing. And I'll be honest, I'd much prefer to do what I'm doing now than fucking dig holes as a plumber. So there are certain things though that you don't have that you had the other way, right? So there is a level of sacrifice that comes in there, and that impact, is also a hard thing to measure, especially if you're in the thick of it. One of my concerns here is like if he has decided he wants to step away, it always seems hard when players do this for them ever to get back on the horse. So we might not ever see him again because it is just the MongolZ, right? The second and third string teams from the region aren't even really holding a candle to anybody. We had some couple good rounds. Like we'll talk about some players that we've seen over the last year and a bit from Mongolia. But yeah, this is the best you could be hoping for, right? So I guess we'll see how this one kind of progresses. But it's just sad that the MongolZ were a team who were in the conversation as one of the best teams in the world at the moment. Yeah. And for them to make this kind of change, especially when their next match is about 10, 11 days from now at Chengdu, and the major is about 30 days, whatever, away from this point now, it just is quite shocking that this has all unfolded.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder, there's got to be, they've had to have submitted somebody for Chengdu, unless Mara is playing. Obviously that's a possibility. But I think I saw Messioso say that the cutoff for the major lineups is on the 30th. So I guess they have a week to figure out who's going to replace him if they haven't already. Considering they said that
just put him in the substitute slot, right?
Yeah.
I think that's important just so that people understand, because they can't take a player from the Huns, correct?
Yeah, nobody else who's actually on the lineup that got invited, right? But they could take somebody from Chinggis or some of these guys that just barely didn't make it.
IHC,
So I'm sure they would have a pool to choose from if they want somebody out from the outside. It could also just be that they will just play with Mara, right? Who knows? But probably I would imagine not.
Some people are speculating that he's leaving to join like another project. The problem is, guys, like when he did this 5v5 face at land lobby I did at EPL, one of the things he said to me after was about his English not being good enough. So he's obviously not going to another Mongolian team. Well, maybe he is, but that wouldn't make any sense, right?
I think whatever happened is obviously bad, and the only question is how bad it is. If it
doesn't have to be bad.
If it's just burnout, that's the best case scenario for if it's just like I can't take it anymore, I need some time, that's fine. The scary thing is like where I will not go to speculate, but just considering the situation in China, in Mongolia, the amount of gambling related issues that happened, quite a few, and that's the darkest scenario if that's the reason he would be off of the lineup, because that would absolutely justify benching your best player a month before the major, before a string of 3 tournaments in pretty much your region, right? As close as it gets to home.
And then Hong Kong. So,
you wouldn't do, if there is any way to stay and just play, you would play. There's all the even if you just be like, okay, I'm sitting out Chengdu and rivals, but I'll be back for the major. If the problem is, I feel like it has to be something worse than just like I need some time off.
Also they would have probably the worst part is I would have expected if it wasn't something serious, right, that they would have just said the reason, right? Like, I don't know, he needs some time off or whatever it is. Like all these things, like a lot of this you can just easily explain away, right? So that's why I had such a weird feeling about it, that where like with the less information you get, the more skeptical. And so it's a bit, it's just an awkward thing. Obviously, I wouldn't want to speculate to that degree just because, what if it is just something and they're just bad at communicating it? Could also be the case, but it just feels very serious. Yeah.
See, again, I don't like to be a jump to conclusions, Andy.
I think we can talk about just MongolZ, like what it means for them, right?
Yeah,
because there is realistically, there's no obvious pickup for them. as you said, the level between MongolZ as a team and the next best team is huge.
Yeah.
And then there hasn't been like a real standout player from the next best team that you can be like, this is the guy. Obviously, Score joined the Huns, and the Huns became much better since that happened. But that's also a player they had before and didn't want, despite them being pretty good.
This is where the random conversations of the internet come in, because when I made the tweet retweeting the MongolZ thing yesterday, I just had heaps of people just tweeting stuff, and you don't know what's real, you don't know what's not, but like, people are saying shit. So first of all, people were saying no cries. Guys, no cries, by self-admission, I think doesn't speak Mongolian. Like, he's from Burchill region or something, which is ethnically Mongolian, but I'm pretty sure in one of the many interviews he either did with like FURIA or the one he did for EPL or whatever, I'm pretty sure that he would have a tough time being able to communicate in Mongolian, right? So people saying that, I think, yeah, you're definitely up to date on pop culture. We'll talk about Hassan's dog shock collar next, but in terms of something realistic, I don't think that's still there. You obviously have a bunch of players from ATOX who got banned or pending bans. I don't remember exactly how that situation went.
I mean, there's two players, that's Yami and Annihilation, that didn't get banned, and whether they're involved or not, I'm not sure. But I guess Yami is in Chinggis Warriors right now, so he was one of the players that people mentioned quite a few times that could be an option. And then Annihilation is also pretty good, and he was also in IHC a while back. We don't know. If anyone knows, probably the guys in MongolZ know how serious the situation is, and if they would be interested in either, they would probably reach out to ESEC and get some information whether they are still being investigated or not. But right now, as of today, they would be free to go to MongolZ.
I think I ask other questions along the lines of, are they trying to replace the player like 1-for-1 in the type of positions, right? And then that's something that, again, we are probably not the best versed in being able to do that. There are definitely some names of players that we've seen, but I casted some Chinggis Warriors games. I casted some Huns games this year as well. People saying Bartek and like Hasteka. These are obviously guys who were through the MongolZ roster before, but
not Hasteka, please.
These players were not good players, right? Like
that was such a misstep, man.
They weren't players who had the level of firepower output. Somebody said that, like, in reply to my tweet, that like with the relationship that Mara and Score have, Mara said he wouldn't coach if Score was on the team or something. So again, I don't know if that's true. It's just people tweeting me random shit. The other factor that people need to keep in mind is the academy roster, which they announced back after they kind of did their welcome home parade after the major, right? They came home and they did this academy announcement at the same time as they did like a meet and greet somewhere in Ulaanbaatar, I'm pretty sure. And they had the main roster play against the newly signed academy team. And Mazinho is actually a product of the academy team before. So I think the other conversation needs to be about, is there a form of promotion available? So I tried to do a bit of a dive regarding those players. Now, they don't have any HLTV related matches. You can find their team page on Liquipedia. So the players are CXIX, he's the in-game leader. Kyousuke, he is the AWPer. Hakai.
Okay, you finish and I'll add to that.
Who is a rifler. Ghetto, who's a rifler. And Irux, who's a rifler. And Coach is Rifle, who I'm pretty sure he was coaching one of these teams earlier in the year that I was casting, either Chinggis or the Huns, at some point, because I remember physically seeing him. So yeah, that's the academy roster.
You mentioned Kyousuke, right?
He's an AWPer.
Yeah, but he has joined now Chinggis Warriors.
Okay.
And Aryukal is the guy that's out of the roster.
Okay. All right.
As of this morning.
This is posted on Facebook. I posted in the news chat. I can share it in the. Someone actually shared it to us on Kick in the chat when we started the stream. So
let's go.
So that's maybe, I didn't know this Kyousuke guy at all, but I guess if he is coming from the MongolZ Academy, and also the fact that someone is opping in Mongolia doesn't matter.
They don't have to be the AWPer.
They can just like add multiple AWPers in the same team and IGLs and everything. It's fine.
Well, the thing is, I was doing like some more of a look, and I don't know, I'd have to like double, triple check, but like I think that the in-game leader, the CXIX guy, it has their most elo. So what I did was I was actually going through, so they play Face It in SEA. I couldn't find a VOD for CXIX, but I was going through the YouTubes and looking for, I can't paste it, fuck. Can one of you guys paste this in the chat for the people?
Yeah.
So there's more. There's not a lot more, but people can go and find FACEIT games where some of these academy players are stacked together, or they're playing games. It's in SEA, so I think the level is probably not very good, to be completely honest with you. So take the gameplay how you will. I wouldn't be using it to grade potential, but definitely just to see the general understanding, right? And like util game and all that type of stuff. I wouldn't be looking at, oh wow, they own their opponents. You would hope that they would be owning their opponents. So there's some research done for all y'all if you want to go and have a look at some of the VODs from YouTube. But yeah, it's a bit of a mystery because we're not in touch with the scene, and they have to. Well, they don't have to. Well, yeah, they kind of do. They have to recruit domestically. They can't do anything international unless there's some player that we don't know of in the rest of the Counter-Strike world who's a good player who speaks Mongolian. Otherwise, they're going to have to try and find another diamond. And Mara has been able to do that decently as of late. And when I say as of late, obviously the additions of Senzu and Mazinho turned out to be good. It's just, I don't know. I don't know where you go from here. We just have to wait and see.
I mean, we definitely lost a major title contender.
Sure.
But this, without a doubt. We don't know who's going to come in, but it would be a huge. Like maybe next episode I go back on this, but I don't see it happening.
It would be surprising if they could find somebody who doesn't have international LAN experience or limited international LAN experience and then plug him in, whether it be a position like they move Techno into more of Senzu's spots, or they try and bring someone in to plug Senzu's spots to be able to deliver at the necessary capacity for the team to be able to compete against the best in the world. Yeah. That would be fucking insane.
I mean, the Yami guy actually looks. I'm not super versed on some of these Mongolians, but I would like if I had to pick one, it would probably be him because he also looks from a profile relatively similar, at least playstyle wise. But I don't know. There are probably some that Mara has an eye on, but who knows if that's even the solution? Maybe they're just gonna wait until early next year when the Hoons players become available. After the major, and then they make the big change, and now it's just gonna be plugging the whole short term, right?
Sure, it's possible. Yeah,
I agree. Like it has to be like for the rest of the year. I just don't see how they can ever recover from this to actually be able to compete for the major title anymore.
Yeah, it's just it's a mystery. I think this at least to us, right? So maybe there'll be some evolutions to this to come. There will have to be obviously for Chengdu and the Rivals event in Hong Kong just after. So we'll be learning more shortly. But yeah, it's just a bit of a shocking day, really, with the skins news in this one. So that'll be that, unless anyone else has anything they want to throw in the MongolZ conversation.
No.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's jump into our next little segment. For those people who haven't been tuning into the last episode, we got Skin Club and Refrag on board as sponsors for the foreseeable future. I guess when that changes, you guys will know. The logos won't be there anymore. But Refrag is a tool, in case people are unawares with this, that has a whole bunch of different modes to help you get better at Counter-Strike, essentially. And last week I showed some of the demo playback functionality, and people were like, oh, this is just for pro teams. So this week, maybe we do a bit more of a focus and we can tell people about some of the tools that exist within it that can actually make you better at Counter-Strike. Because this is something that I'll be transparent with people. I was paying for this for the longest time. I was in conversations with Casey Foster when he was first kind of bringing this product up to kind of essentially be like what Pimp is for them. But then
like an ambassador.
He snubbed me and went with Pimp. Makes sense. Pimp had a bigger social profile, did all the streaming stuff. So I missed out, guys. I was just paying for the product on my own. And then I complained to Jacob about 6 months ago that I was paying, and then Jacob gave me a code. So I don't have to pay for it anymore. But anyway, the point of this is I was still paying for the product because I think it's such a good tool. Some of the ways that I used to like using it was there was a thing called Restrat, which they had in CSGO, which I believe they're trying to bring functionality into CS2, but you could essentially play against executes of top tier teams, and it was good for showing stuff on broadcast. But there's also like a whole bunch of different modes that you can use to help with whatever things that you're having a tough time in Counter-Strike with. I really like, there's like modes called Crossfire or X-Fire, Defender. Mm-hmm. Those kind of modes are really cool because like bots are constantly swinging from different angles and there's utility in the mix. And sometimes you're having to be the aggressor and initiating as if you're the T and moving through the motion of angles. On Defender, you're kind of in a position and they're executing on you. And as you go, it builds up like an ELO. So it'll get harder and harder and harder. And it's better than just death matching, right?
Honestly,
agree,
the thing for me is like what you explained is like 7 different modes. Is like it feels very overwhelming. What I like is that there's the coach mode. You just press like how much time you have or want to spend. There's like I think 5, 15, or 30 minutes or whatever. And if you know, okay, I have 15 minutes to warm up, you just press that, and it essentially just throws you in a bunch of different scenarios, which it kind of builds off of your match history. Is like, okay, you suck on T side, Inferno, Banana, then it's going to set you up to do some drills, like quotation mark, on that part of the map. And honestly, you learn quite fast, especially maps that maybe, I don't know, for me was ancient, that I didn't play that much. You understand how bad your angle knowledge actually is. Like, obviously, you know where someone is, but on Mirage, you know exactly how to peek the guy for optimal, you know, success rate. But then you're on other maps, and it's like some part of the map that you don't play that much, and you're like, if you try to pick these bots in the worst possible way, you will just die. And then you pick them optimally, and you see how much easier it is. So your brain can learn this very quickly, because you have this one engagement, you can have it like 10 times in a minute versus like once in a map, perhaps. So that's what I like.
I was trying it today for the first time, because for the longest time I couldn't get the access. I didn't quite do that. I was just like looking for whatever it identified as like my weakness, and I think I did some pre-fire and then the crossfire ones a little bit. And like at first I was like, what am I even supposed to do? And then I quickly realized what I'm supposed to do, because it just becomes so overwhelming with like bots all over the place that you're like, okay, so this is how I'm supposed to approach this. And that is actually like, without you even thinking about it, it is like developing the skill that you're supposed to improve, right? And it doesn't tell you what you're supposed to do, but you kind of understand it from the situation that it puts you in, right? And it becomes progressively harder, or maybe easier if you're having too hard of a time and things like that. And like over time, you actually realize, like very naturally, like what you're supposed to do better without, you know, somebody trying to explain it to you. It just puts you exactly in the position, you know. So that was cool. At first I was not super, like I was a bit confused, but then very quickly, like within 10-15 minutes, I got used to it, and I realized that it's actually like doing a really good job at improving whatever it says you're supposed to improve.
Lucas, you said you use Refrag to warm up, right?
Yes.
What do you do to warm up and Refrag?
I mostly do the X-Fire or pre-fire stuff.
Okay. Yeah. I think like the pre-fire one is really good on the basis of what Prof was saying, because it'll take you through all areas of the map, and you'll essentially be getting your crosshair placement down for those.
The only thing that was weird about that, I just like, there are so many off angles in that thing that you're like, you're never going to like if you're in a real match situation, there are so many positions that it picks that are not common at all. Like they're very off-angly, things like that. Yeah. And like that was very jarring for me for a long time, until I was like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna fucking clear every angle before I properly peek something like I would in a match, you know? So it's like in certain ways I felt like it wasn't necessarily replicating like a typical match experience, you know?
Yeah, there is something that I wanted to do, because like people can build like courses on there. Like you can choose to pick to warm up like a Liege or like Twistzz. So I think like even Steeko had one on there, for example, right? So the ways of their like warm up routines. I wanted to do something with this down the line, like during an EPL where it's a longer season. Now they're not that long anymore, and the breaks are not really that long. I wanted to do something like a Counter-Strike school using all these different type of tools. So just haven't really got around to building it out. So yeah, I think Refrag would be very helpful in that sense. But anyway, let's keep moving. So we had 2 tournaments come to its conclusion over the course of the previous weekend. The date today is the 23rd. So it's Thursday. We're 4 days removed from that now. And the reason that this one is a little bit later is because the next event coming up is going to be starting on Sunday, the 26th, being PGL Masters in Bucharest. So it gives us the chance to decompress from what happened on the weekend, and then kind of ramp back up to what's going to be starting on this weekend before we go on a bit of a stretch. The sprint to the major, essentially. So myself and Striker, in one way or another, were covering TWC. I was commentating. Striker was there to do interviews and cover the news from the event. And Prof, you were working for Perfect World over, you're working for PGL for Perfect World in Bucharest. So you had the crazy schedule. Were you on the opening shift or the closing shift?
Of course I was. I was on the scrub shift. Me, Paula, and Dust most of the days. 4:20 wake ups, 4:20 a.m. Not blazing it for sure. No breakfast. Raw dogging straight into the games. But it was good. You know, the schedule overall was, the timing was bad, but the the schedule of the the format of the tournament, there weren't that many games. So there's like most days I just did one game, So it was quite easy from like a talent perspective.
Don't say that too loud.
Yeah, I said it already, but it kind of works out with the time zone being rough, and also all of the games went like all of the maps overtimes. I think we had over these, I don't know, 10, 12 games, we had like 12 sets of overtime. Actually insane. So every day was like still fairly long considering how it should be. And some interesting games, not, considering which teams were there. We had a FaZe disaster class. We had, Liquid showing something, Legacy Story, 3D Max being 3D Max. It was a good tournament. It was fun.
So I think from a standpoint of me and Striker being at the other event, probably only being able to keep our peripheries on what was going here. So let's give everybody the quick rundown from top to bottom of what they missed with this. So what was going on? It was the CAC 2025 run by Perfect World in Shanghai, China. We had 16 teams in attendance with a 16 playoff. It's broken up into those 2 8-team groups like you would see for Cologne and Krakow and like a Blast Open, for example, same format. So 16 playoff. The teams and their order was the Huns, Gamer Legion, Fluxo, and Bait came last. Then it was MIBR, Lin Vision, Pain, Tyloo. Then it was FaZe, Virtus Pro. They're the teams who just missed out on the playoffs. Then the top 6 was Fnatic and FUT. So Navi Academy eliminated in the quarterfinals. Liquid and Heroic eliminated in the semifinals. And then there was a Legacy versus 3D Max grand final with Legacy lifting the trophy in an all-5 map best of 5 and WATO getting the MVP. Now, I just said, Prof, I didn't have a chance to really watch these games because of the time zone and casting the other event. Yeah. So do you want to take us through the highlights and the lowlights, just essentially the cliff notes of this one? I
mean, obviously 3D Max highest ranked team, and overall the team that had the most stable performance, and it made sense. They've been together for 9 months, same as Legacy, right? They had some like IGL changes, 3D Max, but they are kind of on that level, and they proved it throughout the tournament. Ended up in the final, could have won it, didn't win it, in kind of a disappointing fashion for them. I think Legacy built on some of the potential we saw earlier in the year, where when you watch them, they played pretty good Counter-Strike, pretty decent. Like,
was it still very momentum heavy, like in your face Dumas play?
It is a bit, but at the same time, Dumas wasn't finding that much success. It was more like Lato and Nissim. Actually, Nissim was very impactful.
Nissim has very good aim.
When you watch the games, you would see him a lot of the times being like, okay, he probably shouldn't have gotten 2, and then you see that like 5 times in a game. It's like, he probably should have just gotten 1 here, but he was finding a lot of impact. So that's kind of, but it was a team effort overall. I think what I saw between 3D Max and Legacy is like these teams looked like actual teams, and then you see everyone else on throughout the tournament kind of look like ass, to different varying degrees. Obviously, Huns looked super bad, but when it's Liquid, it felt like they have like three not executes, but they have like 2.5 plans for a map, for a whole T side. It felt very not really inventive. It's just like about the individuals showing up, and that's pretty much it. The game that like Liquid had against Heroic was essentially a game of, if you have 3 stages of a round, that game was exclusively first stage of the round.
Okay, well, at least that's exciting, CS. Unless it was just saving for a minute.
It was a lot of saving, right?
Okay,
because
well, that's not
people just fighting, and it would be like, we lost the fights. That's it. That's it from us. Peace out. There is no need for faking, but even in some of the games when they had that need, it didn't really show up. It just felt very basic. And then there's FaZe.
Can I ask a question with the Liquid stuff? Is there any signs of like potential or growth there? Right, obviously they haven't had a Legion in the team for long.
I think the best thing that I saw from Liquid was NAV, who actually felt
that
impactful.
Wasn't the conversation 6 months ago, was it?
No, he felt impactful. He had good rounds, even in like losing efforts. I would say, like, he would have clutches and stuff like that. So it felt like the NAF of old. The NAF has 5 MVPs. Monacy has 5 MVPs. This is just fact that I'm putting out. And this guy used to be really sick. And in this current meta, the likes of ropz and how they're impactful, what Spinks, whatever you want to say about him, he's finding frags. NAV needs to be in that kind of, not maybe to that level, but needs to provide something from his role, which he hasn't been for a lot of this year. So that's been a good thing. Other than that, Nerds was up and down.
I was going to say, like, when I didn't actually saw that game against 3D Max or Legacy, but it just looked like I remember looking after the first couple of games, I'm like, okay, Nerds going back to the heroic positions, more like lurky, and then doing stuff, working from there. Seems like it's working for him, and then he fucking drops for the next 2 games.
I feel like every time
it's crazy.
I open a Nerds game, he is 6-12, 6-14 or something, and it's just like, what the
well, it seems like you're the problem then, Prof. Stop opening the games.
What is happening to this guy? Like, there was just moments when he looks awful.
Yeah, I don't know. So unfulfilled potential over there.
Not super excited about Liquid, but there are some, their basics looked okay. But then you move on to FaZe, and I have no idea what they're doing, and I'm like kind of annoyed by everything I hear. Is like, we didn't have time, we did this and this to the. First of all, you fucked up. Secondly, after you fucked up, you decided to practice with Rain. Is that that what you're saying? But because they said like, it's hard for people to remember what we practiced 3 weeks ago with Jacob. It's like,
well, the
what
timeline,
were you doing?
We got to think of the timeline of events, right? So they were stage 2 of EPL. They rock up for stage 2. They can't play the first day because they're not VRS compliant. They fly Rain in. They can play with Rain. They play with Rain for 4 straight days, and then after those 4 straight days are over, they have because they made the playoffs. It was more than 4 straight days. They made it all the way. They had to play more than that, right? They had to play all the way to actually 7 straight days plus a media day. So they had 8 days straight of having to play EPL. Then as soon as the EPL ended, they left literally from the venue to go to the airport to get on the plane to land, to then within the point of them landing, within probably 20 hours or less, they had to play their matches. And then the matches, the thing is, it's once you look at who they played against, the reason it leaves a bad taste, right, is because at this event, it's not like there was any crazy world beaters. The best.
No, I mean they got dominated by Tyloo on CT. Their CT side nuke got dominated by Tyloo. What are we talking about?
It's quite clear for FaZe there's a shift in the map pool, right? Because they have started to play Train, and I think we didn't get to see the full ramifications of that with the whole Rain scenario because they were having to play between 2 things. We're changing like this because we have Jacob, but now Rain has to come in and supplement, and they were kind of in 2 minds with that EPL. I think the big problem with all of this is the last hurrah with Rain was something which was like very well received from a community standpoint. Sure, like it was, no one was happy they got benched, or maybe not very many people were happy he got benched. Everyone wanted to see him stay based on his legacy in the org. Then he ends up playing with them in the complexion of the team that most people were like, yeah, you should have just run this for the major. And then all this pressure then just gets lumped onto Jacob, who's playing in these positions, which is probably not natural to his profile, because I have to check if he's going 1-for-1 with Rain. I know there's some of the and when I say 1-for-1 with Rain, I don't mean 1-for-1 with Rain before Twistzz, I mean 1-for-1 with where they played Rain during EPL.
No, Jacob has different positions to Rain, so they did something in between for EPL.
Okay,
like
so
for Nuke, karrigan is playing outside now.
Reyno's door though, I think that's.
But they didn't play a lot of many maps during EPL, right? Something that was the case was there was very few sample size. So like I was doing a lot of speculation on what positions they could possibly be playing. Based off of that, let's just go and check the EPL
I mean, Jacob
stats.
is pretty much just anchoring.
Well, that's not the way he was being used in Apogee, right?
No,
he was pretty much in all the opener spots.
It's one of those where it's like whatever happened at this tournament. I would blame almost nothing on Jacob. The fact is that he's not that great, or has really not impressed us in FaZe. But the fact that they are losing to Foot by whatever they're calling, doing like the same anti-eco in 2 different games and losing both of them, that has nothing to do with Jacob. Absolutely nothing to do with Jacob.
So I'm just having a look right now. They played all 7 maps with Rain, and that's because of I think this whole veto thing. So they were trying to work out what would work best during EPL. So it's tough to work out what their ban is. Their ban is Overpass? Or is it Inferno now with Jake?
I honestly can't remember. I can't remember.
It wouldn't surprise me if they moved into banning Inferno, to be honest, with everybody playing at home. But either way, it's a long way out of the hole for FaZe, but the way that Twistzz played at EPL, did he continue up that form?
It was pretty good. It was pretty good, yeah. His form was pretty good, and it just felt like, okay, their win condition is Twistzz multi-kill. I feel like his like win rate share is insane on this like last month of FaZe.
I think they're playing 7 map pool, which disgusts me.
They were at some point. Yeah,
they removed overpass and then train first.
Yeah, I just saw that. So that is what it is. Yeah, look, if Frozen and Twistzz can be elite level riflers, then it's better than where they were before Twistzz joined.
That's
like,
true. That's true.
Yeah, it doesn't move the needle a lot, to use business speak, everybody. So okay, yeah, let's see what happens in Chengdu, shall we?
Yeah,
in 10 days' time.
I mean, they have many excuses that make sense: limited time, jet lag, all of this. But even with that, you just expect the level to be so much higher than it was.
But
and honestly,
it's just on the name, right? We don't actually expect it.
Demon from Foot, kind of a demon. He was pretty sharp. He was pretty sharp.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, let's jump into the other side of this coin, which was Thunderpick World Cup. That was a best of 5 final. It was NAVI taking on FURIA for the first time since we had MongolZ and Yakinda join the FURIA roster, which is crazy to say considering how crazy all the tournaments are in the circuit. But yeah, the first time that these two have gone head to head since then. It was a very one-sided best of 5 if you look at it from a map-to-map basis. All 5 maps were very dominant. I don't think any of them really had crazy moments of excitement where it felt like there was much chance for the other team to work back into things. So from that standpoint, pretty But overall, the reverse sweep from FURIA, they were down 2 maps. Apparently, MongolZ was sick. Fallen has like a heroic performance on Nuke, and then they pull it back on the next 2 maps, Dust 2 and Train, to close out the series where they just absolutely drub NAVI. So the headline of this event was essentially there was 4 good teams and 4 mid teams, and the 4 good teams made the playoffs. Just gave us more of what we've seen a bunch of, like the MongolZ versus Aurora. We had FURIA versus the MongolZ in the groups. We had Aurora versus NAVI in the groups. So everybody you had to beat everybody if you were FURIA to lift the trophy as far as the good teams were concerned. And it was an interesting series to see, MongolZ offline and Yakinda offline for the first 3 maps and then turn it around for the last 2 maps. But the headline for me is, thank fucking God somebody does an awesome prize pool split like this. I'm so happy that 60% of the prize pool, or it was 58%.
50, I think, yeah.
58% striker, all right?
Okay.
So yeah. So we'll call it 60% of the prize pool was for first. That's my favorite thing about this whole event.
What's your least favorite? Maybe the microphones?
The audio definitely requires some sort of fixing. So yeah,
it just looked like I saw the headset and it's like these are not headsets I usually see. That's all I'm gonna say.
They're Audio Technica headsets were the ones that we were using. Normally for broadcast, we'd be using Sennheiser. I just bought 2 pairs of Sennheiser HMD 27s, and they're about $600 a headset.
So you're now carrying them to a event.
I'll bring them to my own event, and I'll charge $100 per headset a day to if the tier wants to use it. But it also comes down to more than that, right? Like it's the way that the guys doing the audio deck and audio box that you're using, and the compression and post mix, or all this stuff that, I'll be honest, guys, I just go and talk. I'm not an audio whiz. That's Harry Russell's fucking thing. He does that. I just talk. I don't give a fuck. But yeah, like there was some good games, but overall, I think the best series was probably the MongolZ versus FURIA. That was a game that went it was a 2-0 to FURIA, but both games, one was close, one was overtime. So that was probably the best game. That was also
the NAVI Aurora game, but that was more like, that was exciting for all the wrong reasons for Aurora, to be honest. I mean, it was another fucking Dust 2 failure
collapse,
for Aurora.
Yeah.
That was insane, man. Like, I still think back to that game and I'm like, that's
11-4, yeah. Now that you've reminded me of that, I am like, the rounds that they lost were like, how did you even lose these rounds? They lost a 2v4 or 2v5 on the A side to a retake.
The first round, right?
Yeah, that was to make it 11-5. And then Woxic was in a 1v1 where he didn't need to overpeak, but he did. There was a couple of other rounds as well where they had good opportunities. That was the Tech 9 round
that they finally broke through, and they got B-side on like a 4v3 or something, or 3v2, when they lose the last clutch because they can't decide who has the AK, who's actually fighting, who's not. It was insane. Like it was actually very fitting that Aurora ended up being at the bottom of the list of the 4, And that's saying even with NAVI being this kind of weird up and down team at the moment, where they do have like flashes where they look good, but then, in other games they don't. But I think it just was kind of a continuation of the trajectory for Aurora that we've seen for a couple of events now.
Yeah, and I think also kind of obviously this conversation post with the whole MongolZ situation taints the dialogue as well. So, okay. Prof's just found some news.
Yeah.
Controlez to be standing in for Chengdu. Well, I guess that means he's probably with them down the stretch. But I don't know. If, I definitely cast a game earlier this year with him. Like me and Alex were casting.
I'm pretty sure he was like opping and IGLing for the team.
I don't know if he was. He's 28, bro.
But then
went for someone old.
Then Opper, then coolaz came in. Then coolaz became the Opper for Chinggis Warriors for sure. So I'm pretty sure he Chinggis Warriors.
Oh, I see that.
Wikipedia.
They posted it on Twitter as well. And due to insufficient time to fully assess the academy team's players, the decision was made to field an experienced player, taking into account the input of the main team's players.
Yep.
So yeah.
But they've found someone who is so much older than the rest of the team. Like I'm not ageist. I'm just saying that most of the other players are like below 22, and he's 28.
Yeah. I mean, you have to also take into account it's just a stand-in, right? I mean, it's not like he's going to be staying for long term, at least not the way that they've talked about it, right? So I guess long term they want to assess the academy team and see which one of them they would like to promote, and then for now they'll have this guy, right? Which is, I don't know if I agree with that, especially if your plan is that, I would rather have the academy guy get a little bit of experience now when there's no pressure on your results anymore, right? Like you're not expected to replace Senzu like 1-to-1 instantly, so like just get him in now for a bit and give him some experience. I don't know.
Weird.
Feels like it's not the best solution long term.
Okay, let's rate how we feel about this 1 to 10.
The Controlez 2.
I'm giving it 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not excited. Not excited.
Yeah, not super excited.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess, I don't know, maybe they are actually prioritizing like a good result now so that they want to just get somebody who will like do the job. But I don't know. There's
no way they're putting him in Senzu's positions. I reckon Techno probably gets a promo into more map control positions, and they just put this guy to anchor sites. There's too much decision making having to go on in the aggro spots. Okay, let's take a look at how our stock buy, selling, or holding from last week went. Does anybody have the document handy? I'm just jumping into the drive right now.
Yes, I'll share too. I mean, we can just do this very briefly, but it can be fun to maybe do these.
Well, essentially what we were just doing.
Yeah,
either way, right?
In the meantime, I just saw Blood tweet. This gives more and more legitimacy to the fact that Senzu getting benched was quite a sudden affair, which I mean, 100% true. Like, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, if it's true that it wasn't a sudden decision, that they probably have a reasonable plan, right? But this speaks to the exact opposite. So it's very weird. I mean, the messaging around this whole situation is so dodgy, man. I just don't get it.
Yeah, look, I just moved a couple on my own here, guys. I moved MongolZ and Gamer Legion into sell. We might need to do a sell category.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
I just moved Gamer Legion and MongolZ into sell. MongolZ, because of what we're talking about right now. Gamer Legion are on a fucking downward slide. They might be able to beat FlyQuest. They probably should beat FlyQuest. If they don't beat FlyQuest,
I don't know, man. At this point, my hopes for Gamer Legion are super low.
in a good spot. Aurora in a good spot. Aurora, you moved, or they were already in sell? They were already in sell.
Everybody was already in sell. I just moved MongolZ and Gamer Legion down. I haven't touched anybody else just yet.
Okay.
I actually moved FURIA up to buy. We had FURIA in hold. Yeah. I moved them up to buy. 3D Max, are we still buying?
3D Max needs to be hold. They're just like so capped. They are so capped. If they can't win against Legacy, capped.
Okay. Liquid? We were obviously optimistic last week.
I haven't seen them play, so I can't say really.
Prof, you get final say on this.
I think we can. Let's do a punt. Let's do a punt. NAF is back. Let's just keep buying. Let's keep buying.
Keep buying. Fuck. Okay. What do we think about FaZe?
Definitely not up.
Absolutely not.
Holding or are we selling? I think we have to keep holding. I think we need to give him.
We need to give it a bit more time. We need to
give him Chengdu.
Yeah.
We'll hold him until Chengdu.
We'll give him Chengdu.
Do we hold NAVI now? I mean, I know it's not like the super most impressive result, but they were very close to winning that final, and it would have been a pretty legitimate run.
They don't have deep enough playbook for best of 5.
That is crazy to me, considering like it is literally I mean, obviously minus MongolZ, but like core-wise, they've been together for such a long time that it's not like they've not had the time and they've been playing 7 maps and all that stuff.
The map pool has evolved, right?
Yeah.
So 2 new maps have come in over the course of this year alone. So
That's
I think that there's been some adjustments there. So it's not like they're running the same playbook or same basis of the playbook, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could see that Train is just like the one time that they played a decent team on Train, it was like MongolZ, they got slammed, and now the same thing against FURIA. Before that, it was just like all tier 2 teams effectively that they had any wins against on Train. So I guess they were just not very tested. Writing was on the wall for that one, to be honest, in the best of 5. Yeah, I would just keep them where they are. I think it was a pretty reasonable run though. Like the first 2 maps made me feel like this team can be so good if they get it right, but then it also felt like FURIA were just letting them. I also just felt like FURIA were just letting them do whatever they wanted. It was very
slow. The pace at the start of the first 2 maps, actually maybe across all the maps, was very slow. They weren't being assertive. They weren't like taking fights and stuff. It wasn't the most enthralling game of Counter-Strike if we're going to talk about it from that perspective. And then on top of that, like they didn't feel like there was a lot of initiative coming out from FURIA, especially on Mirage. They were just giving him mid-control every single time and stuff like that. So not great, not ideal, that's to say the least.
Yeah.
So this looks pretty good. And then we'll check back in next time and see how this is aged.
Obviously, the numbers are outdated. These are the ranking points. We'll just get rid of them next time and just have the stuff.
Okay, sweet. So we just alluded a little bit to Bucharest. Striker's going to be there in person on the analyst desk. I'll be casting from home, and Prof, I'm sure you'll be watching. So just to give everybody the X's and the O's of this is PGL Masters Bucharest going down in the PGL studio. It has a $1.25 million prize pool. This is the one that had the overlap issues with Chengdu, causing some scheduling conflict and a bit of a rigmarole that went down a couple of weeks ago.
That's why this one is ending on Saturday, guys. Final on Saturday. Very unexpected.
So this is non-stop, just so everybody understands. Once it starts on Sunday, so it starts Sunday the 26th, it doesn't end until the 1st. There's not a single day off. Which just because I love taking swings, there are companies out there who run an event with a worse format and less games in twice the amount of time. Just so everyone, and we're talking, right? So crazy to me. Yeah. Absolutely insane. PGL, so there you go, fucking Freudian slip. PGL are the ones who are running a Swiss best of 3 only 16-team group stage into an 8-team playoff, and they're doing it in 8 days. 7 days. They're doing 7 days, guys. Just so you guys, when we're...
I mean, it does take a pretty crazy run. It does take a pretty crazy Friday, to be fair, because they're like running 2 quarterfinals at a time into semifinals, so it's gonna be a very action-packed Friday. Let's just say that. You're
gonna get your boots filled to Counter-Strike, guys. I'll tell you that. They're running 2 at the same time on Friday.
Yeah, I mean they have to do it at some point, right? Because they're running 2 quarterfinals into 2 quarterfinals into semis separately. So they're basically running 4 series on that Friday, or 6 series obviously, but like 4 not even pairings, but like 4 slots.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll see how that all unfolds. I have to fly on that Friday, so I should probably check my schedule, shouldn't I?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that might be something that's important to do. Hopefully, Henry and Harry can take the bullet on that one. Me and Alex have to be on an aeroplane. Okay, where are we right now?
I mean, it's 6 games, so like everybody gets. Well, there's 3-4 pairings, right? So if you have 3 pairs, then they can take those 6 games, right? So it should be fine.
Should be fine. All right, so we've got Aurora, 3D Max, Liquid, Astralis, Pain, Legacy, Gamer Legion, Gentlemates, Heroic, Fnatic, NIP, Bait, MIBR, BetBoom, Saw, and FlyQuest. Those are the teams in attendance. As mentioned, it's $1.25 million prize pool with a Swiss best of 3 the entire way through. In terms of favorites by ranking, they are going to be Aurora and 3D Max. But realistically, this feels like it could be anybody's tournament with the form that Aurora have been showing. Sure, like they go in as name value favorites, but there's no reason that another team couldn't win it. Best of 5 final, best of 3 third place decider, or podium match if you want to get with the new lingo. So that's that. That's the particulars right there. Let's get into the...
What are the odds?
Yeah, what are the odds? That's the one. So what are the odds for this week, Prof? What is it?
So the question is, after this event, will Legacy overtake Aurora on the VRS ranking?
Whoa.
So the premise is obviously there's only how many points between them?
70.
Yeah,
76 now.
So not even 100 points between the two.
I mean, effectively outplacing them would probably do it.
Yeah, Aurora on the kind of the downturn. They've been struggling for big. Obviously, still made top 4, but in a Thunder pick. But here, I think the competition is harder in terms of there's a lot more teams that are kind of stacked.
Level.
And then Legacy on a hot streak just beat some pretty decent teams in CAC, unlocked new level of, confidence that comes with it. Obviously, there's a bit of, I mean, they had enough time between CAC and this, but it's a very young team. New IGL kind of confirmed that they are pretty good. Was it a fluke? Essentially, the question is, will they do better than Aurora? And will that be enough to overtake them?
Interesting. So the first thing I go to here is one that we can't really quantify with numbers, right? And for me, that is in regards to how much damage internally has been done by the downturn results of Aurora and losing capitulation games. Like how much mental deterioration.
I
was right on the first one. How much of that exists, right? Because we can't know and we can't measure that. If that is something which is like bubbling and is there to like spill over at any moment and can rear its head, the type of teams that they're going up against who can press them, who they probably think they should be better than, this is the event that will really pressure test that mentality, right? It's not like, oh, we lost to Vitality. It's like, fuck, FlyQuest have got 11 rounds on us right now, right? Like that could be the possibility. So this could send them over the edge. The other question is there consistency in Legacy's gameplay? Not that we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, it did. The CAC round came very much out of nowhere. I mean, nothing from before really showed that they would be able to win a tournament like this. Like, yeah, there are some signs that they can take some of these bigger names, but very rarely did so. So it just came kind of as a big surprise, and also with kind of a big overperformance, right, from Nissim, who, like, he's just been doing his job, right, but he was never a big difference maker until now. So I don't know if that's like him finding a new level, or we're just going to see a reverse to the mean at some point, because again, nothing else showed that he would be able to do this on a consistent basis,
I think it would have to be catastrophic for Aurora at this event for Legacy to overtake them.
Okay.
So I'm going to go quite modest, and I'm going to say Legacy surpass Aurora on VRS ranking after PGL Bucharest concludes. I'm going to say 15%.
Okay. Very strong, very supportive for your favorite team.
As we all know, I am the #1 Aurora fan, and I will continue to fly the flag. Amen.
Okay.
I'm just looking a bit through the history, and one thing, as much as like Aurora sucked in some of these big games, they don't lose to shitters. They actually have not lost to a team outside of the top 8, I think, this whole season, pretty much. Their losses are like FaZe, Spirit, MongolZ, Liquid, I guess, at Fisher
FURIA,
Playground. NAVI, FURIA, FaZe, FURIA, MongolZ, NAVI. These are the teams that they lose to. Astralis, they don't lose to. Gentlemates, they don't lose to. Heroic, they don't lose to. Like, these are the teams they kind of cleaned up this whole season. So that
they did struggle into Venom, to be honest. I mean, they it was until like second half of Mirage decided that they actually pushed it over the line. So it's not like they don't struggle against these teams.
I guess this could be, as Chad said, this would be a breaking point. It still also means that Legacy needs to actually play well to get to a good, because I think regardless, Aurora is still making playoffs. So can Legacy make it to like a semi or a final?
Yeah.
Are you got what?
Yeah. 42%.
Yeah, that's Twitch chat. Sorry, Kick chat. That's what the people at home are having to say in the green one, the green variation.
I mean, I would probably go a bit more Legacy favorite than you, Chad, but not like a crazy amount. I would do like 25% because I generally agree with Prof was saying, but also you just see cracks in Aurora more and more, and a lot of these teams, I feel like that's being tested by a lot of different play styles that you haven't really seen before. You know, like even the Fnatic matchup, I feel like is now going to be the easiest because they have a lot of shared map pool, for example. And I mean, like I could see them going down, but then Liquid starts with, or Legacy starts with like a Liquid game where they're also going to go down early probably. And again, I don't necessarily think that's what we saw at CAC is going to be replicable down the line because we haven't seen anything before that would suggest it, you know. So I think Aurora, I would still have Aurora favored pretty heavily to that.
Is
what's the number? Did you say a number?
25.
25.
Do you guys feel that the pool at Bucharest is a higher tier pool than at CAC?
Yeah, I mean, in this,
I think from top to bottom, like together, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a bit more stacked. That middle is a bit more stacked.
Yeah,
there's a lot more experience, right? I mean, we don't have the likes of Foot and some of these guys who barely ever get to play. A lot of these teams have actually played a lot of these tournaments, right? I mean, loads of these. Like, effectively, everybody has some lot of experience other than, like, maybe the new Saw hasn't played anything for, like, 3 months. But effectively, everybody else has played Tier 1 LANs this entire year. Versus CAC, that was a bit more split.
NIPs have been on and off, right? Your baits have been on and off.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the only team that's missing is FaZe here from CAC. That would make it better. But other than that, I mean, that is on paper better, not even in reality.
I really quite like the obviously, again, we say this at every event: no vitality, no spirit, no mouse, right? But the fact that I feel like these matches here will deliver some good data on how these teams kind of match up against one another. And also, if one team is just much more dominant against the average point of the field than the other, that's also nice to see. It's like, let's just pick a team at random here. Fucking NIP are just really strong in their 3 best of 3s or whatever for the Swiss stage. It's like, okay, like this is interesting to see how this does. Like, okay, NIP, we expect them to lose to a vitality, but I don't know what I expected for them against a Gamer Legion or an Astralis. Like, I'm actually hanging out to see how those matches go down. So I think there's some cool elements from that regard that we get to take a peek at too. So
I'll give it a bit more. I'd go for like 33%, but I still like there's questions about Legacy, as you said. How consistent is this Nissan performance? Sadzin had some like awful games, had some really good games. So there's question marks. As much as I liked this whole change that they had, and like Lux spoke in some interviews about it, that after the major, when they almost made playoffs, they were like 1 map against Mouse away from the playoffs, that they just lifted their expectations of themselves so much that it just caused them to internally have so many conflicts when they would be losing. It's like, we are much better than this, but in reality, they weren't. So they kind of managed to change that mentality going into CAC and just be like a team that plays Counter-Strike.
So the question is, are they going to fall back into that mentality now that they're like, oh, we've won a tournament, we're good?
Yeah, even if that's true, you know, there's levels to the levels of quality here, and the amount of games. The format is also heavier here, you know, with Swiss, and or there is a double LM for the groups. So I think they'll be tested so much more. And even if they just make semifinal here, I think that would be huge success, which I think for them is the peak, and for Aurora would be just like whatever. So I think there's many things that need to go their way for this to be true, because they can lose to any of the teams here realistically, and not just the Turkish side.
I could see it being a very weird tournament in the sense that there's a lot of teams here that are on a long run of events. Aurora being one of them, for example. I mean, Legacy just coming back, like the whole run from EPL into CAC into here, or into Thunderpick. You know, like a lot of these teams are effectively on the road for like a month straight. Same thing with 3D Max. I mean, they even have Chengdu right after this. It's going to be, I feel like it's going to be a very messy tournament in that sense, that it could be just very, very all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to give a quick shout out to Quantum Death Cat for the thread FlyQuest Last Gasp on HLTV, discussing their fall down the VRS and how that they're running out of opportunities to try and garner some points so they can stay in the bubble to get invites. Well written thread.
Just to add onto this, for stake this week, we don't have the odds actually on stake, but there will be a weekly reload, as I call it, from stake and HLTV Confirm. You can claim it via support with code HLTVorg and get $5 for the next 7 days. The link is in description and also in chat.
Yeah, nice. Just some little tidbits regarding rosters. MIBR won't have Klim there, which is tough because they were having a good little stint since they added Kicker and Klim into the roster, at least down in Brazil. So that's kind of rough.
They didn't look very hot, though.
They looked absolutely ass. They looked so bad. I hated what I saw.
Okay, never mind. I retract my statement. And Snappi returning his second kid. Second kid. So congratulations to Snappi, but he's back in action, and he will play at Bucharest for NIP. So there you go. That's that.
MIBR, like when a team wins 3 tournaments in a row, regardless of where it is, even if it's the Antarctic or some shit, I expect them to have something going on for them. But what they are doing was peak, like we are playing against plebs Counter-Strike, where we can just do anything and it will work because we're just better individually. The way they are dying, the amount of like entry kills. I think they had a game against Liquid, and Liquid went like 25-6 in opening duels. It was just like they were not making it difficult. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean, that's kind of what perhaps what you would expect after they just played for a month straight in Brazil and then like a bunch of games against local teams, it's just you get into a different mindset, I think, of playing against those teams, and then obviously you can outskill those, but like you go back to reality once you face the top 20s. I think Klim was having a really fucking hard time, right?
I didn't see any of it.
Yeah, he didn't do anything.
0.44 against Liquid and 1-0-0 against VP.
Just quickly, we just saw something on HLTV. The brackets on HLTV for IEM Chengdu and the ones that ESL tweeted on the IEM page are slightly different.
Okay, because they retweeted it, so I don't know if the original announcement might have been wrong.
Maybe.
I'll just pass it on.
Like, for example, here it has the MongolZ versus Heroic as the opening game, and then winner of that plays winner of Australis NAVI. But on yours, it has the MongolZ versus Heroic, and the winner of that plays Tyloo Falcons. So I don't know who's correct, but someone's wrong. So
there was some retweet, and I didn't see what the difference. Like I couldn't catch what the difference was. So it might have been that they rescheduled some of the matches.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I think, boys, we might be at the end of the road for this one. This could be this. We're
on the
almost
nose.
to the 2 hours on the nose. We spoke about a lot of topics, all the hot button topics for the day. At least the last 24 hours. I'm just quickly skimming through to see if there's anything else that leaps off the page at me. Not really. I need to go get to the bottom of this schedule thing because I do really need to leave on Friday. So, but if I was doing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, normally you only do 4 days worth of group games for PGL when you work as a remote caster.
Yeah.
So I think it's all good. I guess I'll ask the question. What a way to find out. Thanks for telling me about the format, Striker. All right, everybody. That has been another episode of HLTV Confirmed. I don't know exactly when we'll be back. I have to do this remote stuff. Then I fly to China on the 31st, and then I don't get back from China until the week later. And I won't be able to podcast from China. So you boys might be doing one without me in the interim.
Yeah.
But after Chengdu, then we have Rivals. Then after Rivals, the major starts. So we're not too far away now. We're 32 days away from the start of stage 1. We are looking to close the curtain on 2025. We'll be ramping that up and more Counter-Strike to come. So this has been HLTV Confirmed. Thank our sponsors, Stake. We've been streaming exclusively on Kick. Remember, also VODs on YouTube and everywhere else that we offer up the podcast. Top comment situation going on if you want a Vitality jersey. So don't forget about that. We had our winner from last week. Hopefully you see this video because you'll see your name. I guess we'll contact you as well. And Skin Club as well as Refrag, the sponsors of the show. All right. Have a good day, everybody. This is your Thursday, my dudes. All right. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
They say victory belongs to 5 on stage, but it's never just 5. It's every heartbeat in the crowd, every cheer that shakes the stage, every flick every clutch, written together. On stage or in the crowd, we are one. Skin Club, together as one.
Ever wanted to try Refrag? Well, now you can. For the viewers of HLTV Confirmed, you can claim a 1-week free trial for the world's best CS2 training platform, letting you try out all of our features, like the Refrag Coach, which will analyze your games and give you a personalized training plan. You can also try out Challenger, an all-new game mode, which will test your retake abilities in realistic in-game scenarios. Try Refrag today for free using the link in the description.